Toys, 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 manly toys, 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 toys,
and TV and movies too. All right, everybody, welcome to the Toy Team. I didn't change that banner yet, but anyways, we have an elite group of hosts up here today, and we have some really awesome people watching in the chatting along. So let's just say hello to all the hosts. We got Heroes and Villains / Left Coast Graphics, parentheses Rick, unparentheses.
Oh.
We got Fuller's Figures. That's Connor over there. We got Sir Eric. He got rid of the brown. And we got Dan Bro Pulse in the bottom right-hand corner, ready to defend his company. Anyways, and of course, I'm Vern from Vern's Rants. Let's say hello to some people in the chat, people who arrived first. Now, I know Lack was hanging around like a day ago, so let's say hello to him. I don't see his chat up here, but he said, 39 hours. I bet he stayed awake the entire time waiting for us to start because he thought, what if they start early?
Got a dedicated laptop just for this stream.
Got that Alaskan.
We got Gerard Kane. He is joining us. Sonny woke up super early again. Wonder if he's going to have to bail to go to lunch or go to work. I was thinking lunch because I was already reading this one. Super Awesome Geek Show. John, he said he was going to join us, but he's at lunch. So he's G&A be late. I don't know if that's grand.
Gonna.
Oh,
At Burger King.
Missing a vowel and a syllable.
You're going to have to keep up with the kids, Vern. You're going to have to keep up with the kids. Stay hip.
We got Jonathan, our resident toy expert, who will keep us all in line and fill in all the gaps for all the things we don't know, which is pretty much everything about toys. Paul Morales has joined us. And Dan is like chatting along, just like with everybody else. Let's see. Mr. B is here. Yak Matt is here. Let's see. Mikey in Houston has joined us.
Hey, Mikey.
What is this? Gunna is also Eskimo for friend. See, I would not have known that. So you learned something new watching the toy team because
whatever this is,
refrigerators and washers and dryers. Anyways, let's just do this really quick. The Ghostbuster Plasma Series, yay! 24,361 at $299. Let's do the math on that because you saw the headline. Hasbro laid off 1,100, or is going to lay off 1,100 workers, and let's see, that's 300 after making times.
Oh, are you calculating?
Yeah.
I wonder.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. It's okay. There you go. $7.3 million. That doesn't even pay the CEO's salary. So of course.
Well, that's just revenue. That's not profit. I wonder. I wonder what their kind of profit margins are on these things that take a lot of R&D.
Yeah, if it was 7.3 million, their profit was 7 million.
50%.
Eric, you were in on this. I think Eric's the only one who backed the Plasma Series, right? So you're super happy you got everything?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Do you have a jean jacket that you bought so that you can sew those patches on?
No. I'll just probably I don't think I've ever had a jean jacket, not even in like the early 90s as a kid.
It's never too late to join the denim jacket game.
It's never too late. You should get one. John is saying that they knew about the layoff since June. They just kept it really secret because they knew they were sworn to secrecy that they were going to lose their jobs. Anyways, then of course the Cobra mothership crashed and burned with only 1,661 backers.
Did you do that crash and burn graphic yourself, or did
no? This is actually my post from Twitter. What is it? UK Toy Collector.
So it wasn't Super 7 that posted those graphics.
No, but wouldn't that have been hilarious if they had that up there on there? their page.
It would have been fun if they did.
Yeah, I think that would have been like a really cool thing for them to do.
It's too bad they reached really high going for something like that when it's not one of their own personal biggest selling toy lines.
Right.
But now that they're going to be producing some new O-ring, 3 3/4 figures, they maybe should have started smaller with, a cartoon version of a Jeep or tank or airplane or something because, then work your way up to a big $500 or, a HasLab type of crowd-funded toy because.
Yeah, they went too big too quick on that one, I think, as well. It was an obscure one to go with it.
And
See,
who
John,
knows? Maybe they revisit it in a bit of a smaller scale, where they can.
Yeah, but smaller than what? Because it's
just maybe
3.75 inch
smaller,
figure. Like a micro galaxy, small.
No, just like smaller. Like how Kenner kind of cheated the size with the Falcon. And
but then they wouldn't have been in that super control room. You
they're
wouldn't have been
retro. They should try and stick with
they got high definition cameras in there, so you can film your toys while they're all closed off in the cockpit and stuff like that. I think that was that video. Like that? Yeah, that video to me made it seem like how ever would you be able to like see your toys like that? You know what I mean? So it was like it was creating an unrealistic expectation that you would be able to like get that shot of Cobra Commander and the troopers flying that thing. Because how?
You get drones like this.
Yeah, you get a little tiny micro camera or something.
Playmobil
like
did that. Playmobil Starship Enterprise, big behemoth, whatever, $500 item, big cool toy. It for its like front view screen of the Enterprise, you put your iPhone in there. And you sync up the app to it, and it's for toys in the year 2000.
So the toys can watch you on YouTube.
They can watch the show right now from the Enterprise.
Yes. Who had a $500 toy?
I don't think I've seen a Playmobil that's that high. Is it aftermarket? Or are you talking like what was the retail?
Oh, I'm sure it was like $300, $400, $500. It's one of their biggest toys.
You're talking about the Enterprise?
Yeah. They also made it on Vertebrae, and it was.
No, I don't think that Playmobil Enterprise was $500.
Well, maybe it was 500 Canadian and $3.99 US or something.
Yeah, I think that's more like it. I think it was in the 99 cents.
Okay. I forgot it was Rick.
Exchange rates and yeah.
500 Canadians, about 60 US bucks, isn't it?
Black loves the Playmobil. John is saying when he comes on, we can talk about it. It's too bad that this whole Hasbro conversation will probably be over by the time he gets out of lunch.
Is it just $25 at Walmart Canada? So,
all right, Playmobil was 500 quid in the US or in the UK too. Oh, I didn't know it was that much. I thought it was much cheaper. I thought
it's like $1,000 Lego sets now, for crying out loud.
$370.
All right, so what's new with you guys? Anything going on this week? Before we
get
into
a bunch of retros, so I'm going to film like 40 retro videos and populate all of YouTube with them, and make people buy them. Like I'm going to force people to like them.
You're going to force people to like the retro,
or Clockwork Orange style.
Click to the next video.
I'm gonna go to Ross right after this, and I'm gonna buy all the retros they got there for $3.99.
Your Ross, I'm so jealous of your.
I haven't seen that one. I seen the 6-inch version of the Boba Fett for $5.99.
Look forward to that one. I got him today, and I got Cad Bane today at my GameStop.
Oh my gosh! I saw a picture earlier of the Black Series Cad Bane at Ross for $5.99. I got to go and look for it.
But this one is the best. It's giving me the
Black or Santon. Oh wait, hold on. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, he's giving me the
Eric.
I know I resemble Black or Santon.
So I can't wait to open him.
Vern, do you remember me telling you that the Ross by me has it's a mess, right?
Yes.
I've gone in there 12 times. I have yet to go in there, so I'm curious about anybody else that goes into Ross. Let me know, you especially. I've yet to go in there without having an alarm go off at some point in time, like the security
feeling stuff.
Okay, So when
Gandhi,
I go,
you have to pay for the items. You can't just leave the store.
Yeah, come on, man.
No, it's not me setting it off. It's not me.
Rolando's looking for the Retro Sentinel. I am too. I haven't seen it yet. Sonny said he got his Playmobil for $270, whatever that squiggly line is.
Euro.
Euros.
Imperial credit.
I'm shocked.
Someone has forward with me. I love these. Oh, that's
Monopoly money.
He just said,
The
Okay,
Playmobil
so-
toys are quality toys, man. I really dig them. The
They are.
DeLorean, the
Here's the
18 man, the Ecto one. They're pretty well made, and
Yeah.
they're very close to 3 3/4 scale, so they display well with them.
The thing about Ross, Dan, to answer your question is, I have been to about 4 different Ross stores that are close to me. I won't go out of my way. I'm not like crazy. I'm not not spending an entire Sunday driving to every single Ross store. There's one store which is way better than all the rest of them, because if you see my videos, that's where I do most of my filming, because it's like just they have set aside like half of the clothing department, I feel like, for like toy shelves. It's just
More toys than all
it's
of
like
Canada.
a corner. Yeah, it's like a corner of the store they've just taken over. And it's a smaller store, which is like crazy. But there's one store that I do go to where the alarm's always going off.
And they don't care. They just let them go.
Yeah, it's like
all these sensor tags are going off all over the place on the purses and the perfume, and they're ringing people up. And I mean, 20 minutes I'm in the store, and the time goes by, and I'm ready to lose my mind. But I'm like, I can't pass the $5.99 action figure.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, you're talking about people just walking out with whatever. Just
Tags
No, nobody's stealing anything. It's the sensor tags are really sensitive, right?
They
Okay.
have those ones that go around some of their higher price. It's got like a little
Right.
ball, and then it's got wires.
Yeah,
It's just okay. So if you just approach the door, it's
Yeah,
open.
or
somebody people are
Sometimes it's your
Googling
damn
this
cell
stuff.
phone or your wallet too. Those
Yeah,
things are
I think
really.
I think people are trying to peek in the box to make sure
Yeah.
stuff there. It pulls the tension of the cable, and then the little alarm just goes off. I watched somebody walking around with the alarm going off in their cart. They were just still stopping. Beep, beep, beep. They didn't care.
Blue paint spraying
They're gonna
out.
buy it anyways.
It's like they're off in their own little world. But no, Eric, it's like you open up a purse or you pick it up to look at it or something like that, and then the stupid tag goes off because it's half of their tags are theirs, and the other half are like whatever company that they got the deal from left the tag on when they sent them stuff. So it's likely that they don't even have a way to deactivate it. I've literally seen that. Like they've just been sitting there, and all the employees are looking at each other, going, "Do you have the thing for that one, or do you?" No, I don't. So they just let it go.
They've just tuned it out by now. It's just white noise.
Yeah.
So what's new to Walmart's in Canada is someone brought up the makeup department. So now they kind of barricaded off a big section of the ladies' makeup section.
Yeah.
And you need like security guard to kind of let you in or guide you, because I guess it's a popular crap to steal now.
Oh yeah.
And now all of our expensive Lego now is behind lock and key.
Really?
So
Really?
I guess they've had a lot of people, thieving shit over the last few months. And I'm just wondering if that's an issue in America and overseas as well, where stores lock up all their Legos and their makeup now.
Usually, I've only really seen that for like video games and then like certain medicine, like the Robitussin.
Oh really?
Stuff used for making stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's regional because ours had like my Walmarts are like yours, Rick. They have the.
Well, I'm in Canada. We're not like a bad crime doesn't happen all the time, but I guess there are still people that I can just go steal this Lego and sell it in the black market for $50 or $100 or whatever, right? Like, but the makeup, I guess, I don't know. It's just maybe people just like to steal makeup because it's small and can put it in your pocket. I don't know. I'm not part of the makeup crowd anymore,
Right.
You're not rolling with those guys anymore.
Everyone's got to find.
You don't wear makeup?
Everyone's got to go find Rick's Phantom makeup tutorial YouTube Shorts channel.
Connor, what
He
about
uses
you?
retro makeup from the 1950s.
Super John's saying lots of stuff locked down there.
Yeah,
It's
Connor,
kinda
I'm
new
curious.
here.
How's your stuff?
Holy, what's going on?
So I announced last week I was going to give away one of those Viper packs, and
Big giveaway.
it was basically everybody who was in the chat last week.
Criminals.
Channel members were all getting an extra 2 entries, and then anybody who super chatted or whatever during the week, the cutoff was Friday. So this is the wheel. There's a few people on here that were in here 2 times because they're members, people that were in here 3 times because they're members, and they were here in the chat, and then just people who were in the chat. So I do have that. I'm going to try to figure out how do you make that tiny though.
Can't believe I'm not on there.
Now, can I send a super chat?
What?
You say the cutoff
yeah,
is
don't
right
worry
now.
about
Can I send a super chat?
I think you're in there anyways, but
Can I ask just like a random question related to these wheels and whatnot that everyone kind of does?
Blue.
Why don't you just run it once and whoever like wins it first is the winner? It just seems much more efficient than going through everyone. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who thinks that, but
Oh,
Just
Eric,
view hours.
boy, where's the anticipation?
All
Who
right.
doesn't need any view hours?
Knocking people out
Well-
is half the fun.
Okay, so that is
oh,
Fixed.
or yay! Are you changing the policy? Does Miriam?
yeah. Oh, well, there you go, Eric. Because Eric said so, Miriam Gillis is the winner. All I need is an address to send it off. So there we go.
See you all next week.
Let me just say, as someone that's met Miriam, she's a lovely person. I'm delighted she won. So thank you, Eric, for that suggestion.
There you go.
I fully support Eric's suggestion now. I'm fully behind it.
So you all have Eric saying,
Maybe Connor, maybe that'll buy me some favors so you don't give me any shit tomorrow.
We'll see how
But
it goes.
that was everybody who was in the
We'll see how it goes.
but that's what, you know what, Eric, that's what we'll do. Miriam's the winner. I'll just take your suggestion. We'll move on. We actually have a lot to talk about this week. So all of the rest of you, that's how it worked out. You have Eric to thank for that very quick spinning of the wheel. I don't mind doing that. That's going to cost me like a whole bunch of money to like ship.
She lives on the moon, right?
And can we put a stipulation in that it's for Miriam? Jared Kane is not allowed playing with them.
That's true. Yeah.
For Miriam, okay? Draw a line in that one.
All right. So we just got to make sure that they know. I'll send a message over there and let her know she was the winner. I just need an address to send those to, and hopefully that will get there sometime after the holidays, probably.
Christmas.
Anyways, it was pretty fun to like get all the names. I was using the Nightbot to get all the names from the chats and stuff like that. So I had that list, and I'm going to do more giveaways in the future and stuff like that. I think coming up in the new year. So we'll just keep doing stuff like that.
That's awesome.
All right, Eric's going to give away a turtle van next week.
Is he now?
He just heard me. He's watching this game and he's wait. All right. So there's a movie on Netflix called Leave the World Behind. I'm not going to show a graphic of it because I put a headline up that I don't agree with, right? But that's not what we're talking about. Has everybody seen Leave the World Behind?
Yes.
Okay. Eric, you haven't seen it. So are you okay with us talking about it, or?
Ooh, Derek.
Go for it.
Okay. So the premise of the show, let's see. Jonathan saying that's an awesome idea. I take back most of the bad things I've said about it.
Not all of them, though.
John saying it's a great movie. He's not here. So the thing is, I'm not a conspiracy nut or anything like that, honestly, right? I know that there have been a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. I mean, back in the late 60s, early 70s, there was a whole bunch of people that tried to convince people that we actually landed on the moon and stuff like that. So conspiracies have been around for years.
Flat Earth.
But anyways, like, so the idea, just to give you a background on it, Eric, is the power goes out, the internet goes out. Turns out it's maybe some type of a cyber attack or whatever, and people get
you
cut
don't
off.
know.
And then
Don't know.
Yeah, you don't know what's really happened, and then it's like there's some preppers and stuff like that, and it's this family that went on a vacation, and stuff happens, and they're kind of cut off. They can't get home, and it's almost like potentially end of the world type of scenario, right? No communication.
But without watching the finale of Friends, it's like the world ends, and it's the most important thing.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So let's just do this. Miriam is saying WTF. I don't know. West. How did that happen?
Pass it on to the second place winner, she says. It was a
Josh
good movie. I enjoyed it.
Here. Good afternoon. Listening to the toy do in the background, wrapping presents.
Way to do it, man.
Okay, so my question to the group is, what is the plausibility of just being cut off like that, causing like an end world event? Because one, I don't think it would happen.
Maybe not end the world, but if power and internet was cut from like, North America and like, Europe, Asia, it would be bad. But like bad things would happen and lots of people would perish.
Yeah, bad things would happen, but I mean, like, it didn't seem like
maybe half the world
was too fast.
Well,
right? Like,
speaking of someone that has teenage kids, if our internet goes out for any moment of time,
they'll murder you.
It doesn't take long for them to become feral and turn on each other, turn on us as our parents. There's damage done to the walls and structures in the house. There's chairs flying everywhere.
So you're talking about in your house.
You know, it might be a blink.
I haven't even looked out the window yet.
So what happened in that movie happens intermittently over, but possibly once or every month or two here in my home. So it's very plausible.
All right.
It's
so like this is where I preface it a little bit, like about, I'm trying to think, maybe 2009, 2010 here in San Diego, we had a huge blackout. It was almost the entire county was out, and it lasted a long time. Like, I think a day and a half is what I remember. And at that point, the cell tower batteries, backup batteries are out, right? And AT&T, I remember, because there's a box on my property where I was living, they had an easement. After about 13 hours, they brought up a generator to run that thing. But there was a period of 4 or 5 hours where there was like no phone, no cell service, and no internet. You know what I mean? Now, granted, it was only 4 hours, but during that time, it was like, me and my neighbors were just sitting out. We lit up the barbecue. We were hanging out, and like, people walking, oh, do you got power? No, but I had a generator or whatever. Because these people in the movie had power right in the house. It was they had electricity, because probably from solar or backup power or whatever. And I just think there's so many people now that have that type of a situation where they have like batteries on their homes, or there's some generator that they can run. And your neighbors. I mean, if the power goes out here, everybody goes outside to see, like, hey, is your power out? Is your power out? Yeah. And I feel like we've seen like these shows over and over again and know better in a way. You know what I mean? That,
I think it'd be a little bit different now, like 2023, than 1990 or 20 years ago, because now, like, with all of our grocery shopping, and it's all digital now. Like,
supply chains would come to a halt.
You're having to get milk and potatoes, and now, like, the stores that sell milk and potatoes, they're closed because they potentially haven't had power for several weeks, and all refrigerated goods are no good now. And supply chains, truckers aren't trucking, and just imagine a month. Like, we went through a pandemic. We still had power and electricity and internet, and we could still go to Walmart and buy potato chips and action figures, believe it or not. But just imagine if the pandemic was more of a digital one, like no payments coming in from the governments, or your work, or
well, I mean,
if
you work for the government in the U.S. and they go on a continuing resolution, you live that life of no checks coming in from the government, right? So there, I mean, the longest one I think was like over a month and a half where people weren't getting paid and they weren't having to go to work in some cases, right? And some people were going to work, but they still weren't getting paid. So there's been that situation here, and you have to have like a savings or something to keep that going. But yeah, without like communications and stuff, a lot of things are going to fail. But does that mean like in like 4 days we're,
there'll be no airplanes,
talk at each other and stuff like that? Well, that's the flip side of this. The cars
in America, but I think in Canada will be okay.
Listen, the cars still work, planes still worked in this movie, and there were. Hold on, okay, so I want to address that, okay, because if you saw the trailer, even what you see is they're at the beach and the ship kind of comes up on the beach, an oil tanker. You're telling me that on oil tankers today in the 21st century, the captain of the ship can't turn off the freaking autopilot and steer the ship or stop its forward motion? That it's completely regulated by hacker.
So, and if you take the end of the movie into what I'm going to say here into account, I don't want to say it and spoil it on people, right? We're living in a world now where the generation that are coming up behind us haven't had to do anything manually. They've depended on the technology and the software to do it for them. Yep. And if you think, we've had instances where Twitter goes down or Instagram goes down or Facebook goes down. It can't happen with these tech companies. They're all just basically server farms out somewhere that are dependent on their electricity supply or their network to get the service to us. And all those services are interconnected. They're connected into our banking, into our communications, into our entertainment. They are connected. And if one of those connections was to go down, it's as you said, when your electricity went down, it wasn't long before the backup batteries on the towers were starting to fail. So there's like a domino effect that can lead on to that. So, it doesn't have to be a war or an attack or a cyber attack or whatever, or, Die Hard 4, whatever, whatever went on in the fire sale. But
remember the great toilet paper shortage? That's
something simple could take it on.
Yeah, they got that up and running.
But that was messed up, man. Did you ever think in your life?
No.
Like I'm 50 plus years old. Yeah. I never thought 50 years there'd ever be a time where, like, the headline on the news or whatever, people mad rush is out of toilet paper.
Yeah,
what?
But the truth of the matter is, like, in that situation, right? Like, I have one of those bidets on one of my toilets upstairs, so I was good, right? Plus. We had bought those like Charmin Forever rolls at one point, and I had them in my closet, and I was like,
never ended.
What?
And your roll was never ended. It's true.
Yeah, it's like the 3 giant rolls. I'm not right. So like with that shortage, that only lasted a short period of time because there was a break in production. Obviously, right when they told people stay home for a couple of weeks, but they knew they had to get stuff going again. And they knew they had to get stuff out to the stores. But what I'm saying is like that ship coming up on the shore, I get that now we have people that only know technology. But when you got like jetliners and you got a pilot in there, that guy is trained to take that plane off and land it. Whether he does it 100% of the time or not is left up to how often they land and take off using the instrument landing system. But I believe that they are still required to turn that off and actually land and take off periodically to maintain their certifications.
What about the towers?
They run out of fuel too.
But the thing is that a pilot can look out the window and say, "Oh yeah, flying straight into the sand is not a good option here."
Or all the other planes crashed.
Right.
They
I didn't. some things are, I guess, meant to be left a little
I mean,
bit
it
for
was
imagination.
different.
Like
Look,
all
it
the
was-
Tesla cars going
when you
down
watch-
the same road.
When you watch Die Hard 2 and they lowered the ground by like 50 feet or something like that for the instrument landing, it was more plausible because one, it was at night, right? The pilot didn't have that visual sight to see the ground coming up. But if it was during the day, that would not have been a plausible plot point in my mind, right? And I think that there hasn't been that much change in planes, so I didn't see that happening, right? The one thing I thought was very realistic, though, was that whole Tesla scene, because on Monday, Tesla recalled all of the autopilot vehicles because of the system that's supposed to make sure the driver is alert.
Yeah.
Right?
I think they recalled every vehicle.
He realized
they've ever
it
made,
by
is what they
watching
did.
the movie on Saturday.
I was gonna say they probably watched the movie.
They recalled every vehicle they've ever made, is one of the articles I read.
Everyone that has like the autopilot.
But I don't think there is a Tesla that does not have that.
What?
It's an add-on. I'm not sure if it's just
okay.
in the software, or if there's hardware that needs to be installed to support that. But yeah,
It's pretty interesting, though.
Yeah, it was
It's not going to hurt them like it hurt Volkswagen for lying about something.
I get the premise of it. I just thought it moved along. I think it was it was like a weekend, right? And then all of a sudden the world's falling apart, or that area is falling apart.
So
But
see,
like,
I think
like everything we get nowadays when it comes to modern franchises or modern media, I think it's talked about it before. It's just loads of, really cool scenes stitched together with a very poor storyline, and that's basically, there doesn't have to be any realism in it to a ship pulling up in the shore.
It was entertaining. That's what I'll give it.
Very entertaining.
it was what it was. It was a movie. But to Rick's point, here's something to think about. So you mentioned the toilet paper thing, right?
Right.
I mean, people were going. I mean, I don't know about your areas, but I'm not saying like fist fights, but there were people going crazy. Now imagine if you're overwhelmed sensory over what's it called, like sensory overload. You've got all these emotions going on. You're frustrated about the toilet paper. Then you lose the internet on top of that. I'm just saying it wouldn't take much to tip us over the edge.
Oh, true, because you wouldn't know that the stores are out of toilet paper because you didn't read it on Facebook.
Right.
You just
Right.
go there,
Right.
wait in the line for an hour, and then you go there and you're like, oh, there's no toilet paper. There's
And
no
I-
vegetables. There's no diapers. There's no
Exactly. And
nothing. Then what do you do?
if
you
you
know?
didn't know what was going on and you came into the store and saw that, you can't tell me that people wouldn't be at each other's throats, probably
It'll be-
fist
it'll
fighting,
be-
if not worse.
It'll be kind of like that Civil War movie coming up soon.
Just saying.
But when it comes to the toilet paper, I think it's fair to say, maybe Eric aside, and just due to the age, but most of us here probably
No
took a
offense,
crap
Eric.
in the woods at one stage or another. Right? We were okay.
Oh, what concept?
I have.
He's like, wait a second,
I've
I'm
gone
crashing the
camping.
woods like everybody else. Screw you guys.
Listen, but the truth of the matter is that the
Well, you
shortage
think I'm
that
Gen
we're talking about
Z?
with the
Jesus
toilet paper
Christ.
is
Okay. Eric shit in the woods. We get that.
Yeah. That whole run on toilet paper
Your
was
card.
people ran out, they went to the store, and in their mind they were like, nobody's going to be working for a really long time. I better stock up on this if I'm going to have to stay home. So everybody, the initial people that went and bought them were like, I better stock up. And they bought way more than they were ever going to need.
Yeah, but that weird phenomenon was also exacerbated by the media that was pushing that, saying like, oh,
Yeah.
like they
Yeah. It
I get those
people,
that, like,
people it was hype
like,
at that stage. It was
there was
serious.
probably going to be a shortage anyway or whatever, but it probably wouldn't have been blown up the way it was if it wasn't.
No, for
covered.
sure.
In-
It got taken care of.
And then
It was important business, so it had to get fixed.
I mean, that plane dropping
Presidents and prime
flight.
ministers got involved. Like, damn you!
Oh, here he is. The end of the world, John. That plane dropping then
He's got a
Eric
warehouse
was
full of
plane
toilet paper right now.
dropping like propaganda flyers, right? Like in the movie that didn't help the situation. But I think that I feel fairly confident that people kind of would recognize that type of a situation and know that now is not the time to immediately start jumping to an end of the world conclusion.
don't get toilet paper first.
Right.
Well,
But
if there was a complete blackout, you didn't have power or internet or like TV or any kind of reasonable way of mass communication, right? Like, sure, like some people would still have radios and whatnot, and those would probably function. But if all that other stuff wasn't available, I don't think you'd see the mass riots as quickly as you'd think, because people rely on all these different outlets to understand what's going on out in the world. I mean, they'd have to.
I would hope so.
There's two different things here. So, in the movie, everyone that you see does end up helping each other. So, like, revert to Vern's point, even the guy who doesn't want them on their property eventually gives in and helps them out. So, and the two families do work together. The owners of the house and the people who are renting it, they do end up working together. So the movie does have a positive message in that when at the end, everyone in the small neighborhoods will help each other out. That was the creator's vision for the movie. But I don't think that's true.
According to John.
I don't think that's totally true, because we had a power outage that lasted, I want to say it was like 8 or 9 days in Seattle. And on the 4th day, it only took 4 days, okay? People went into the grocery store, beat the shit out of the store clerks, beat up anybody. They had shotguns. They beat up anybody who entered the store, and they took over the store, and they took all the stuff out of it. And they beat the hell out of people for milk and freaking bell peppers and everything. And they basically took over an entire grocery store on the 4th day. So we were down there, and we left and went back home with what we had. Got out. We were some of the last people to get out before they basically totally took it over. And we didn't leave again for the rest of the week until they got power back on. And all we heard on the radio and TV was that this was happening all over in various parts of Seattle.
Part of the grocery store people?
We were there when it started, but we left. We were paying in line when we were leaving when it started. But we heard this ruckus.
Go to the grocery store also?
Yeah, we waited about 4 days. Yeah, because power's never been out for more than a day. And all of a sudden, it was out 2 or 3 days, and we're like, well, I guess we better get something. Well, if power's still out tomorrow, we'll go get something. Because there was me and my brother and a friend of ours, and then my friend Sarah and my girlfriend Jamie were all staying in our apartment that my brother and I were renting. And after like the 3rd day, we were like, okay, power's never been out this long. So if it's still out tomorrow morning, let's get up and go to the grocery store. And we ended up walking to the grocery store.
How big was this group that took over the grocery store?
Yeah, what year was this, John? Do you remember?
Oh, it had to be like, I don't know. When did I leave? 2000. I left in 2017, I think it was. 2018, I left. So it was probably like 2012, 2014.
So you're talking about the 20th century. This is the 21st century.
Why didn't you take your horse to the grocery store?
It started back in the milk department. Like, there was only a couple gallons of milk left, and someone grabbed the last milk or something.
And there was fight over the milk.
They ended up getting in a fight over that. And then these guys came in the front door.
And did they beat the other guy up?
With shotguns, and just as we were leaving, they walked by us, and Jamie's like, that guy had a shotgun. What's he doing? And then we heard all this ruckus, and we just took off. We were like, okay, we're out of here. Let's go, because this is going to be bad. And when we got home, we heard it on the news. It was already on the news that they beat the shit out of the store clerks right at the front registers, and just immediately took over the grocery store.
Just come to Canada next time.
Yeah,
take anybody.
What were you thinking?
So I don't think it's going to take that long. People are going to. That's my example of it's going to be quick.
In more densely populated areas, it's going.
And that's why in the movie they nuked the city.
Yeah. because
That's why in
you
the
can
movie they
see
nuked
things
the
like
city.
that happening. But if you're out in like the suburbs or more rural areas, you're more insulated from
Yeah,
whatever's
you're better
going on.
off.
That's where the movie took place too. I mean, you saw what
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil it, but think about the one of the last scenes there towards the end.
yeah,
The big city, right? That was they
yeah.
were looking at New York skyline. So that's what
Do, 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 do.
the scene before that, Rick.
It was good. Like, what was the other movie that Cranston guy made where they're all blind bird or blind box or something
Blind
like
box.
and they made it.
Bird
And the
Box.
other one where there's like they can't make sounds.
They had technology
They can't
because
make
they were able to
sounds where they're
drive their
going
car
through
to the grocery store.
the end of the world. They're not allowed
Yeah.
to make sounds. I love those movies, man, because to me they're not realistic. This one, you know, I guess it was a little
Well,
more
I don't.
realistic.
Yeah, I
than
don't
I
have
think
the
it was
aliens
more of
that
a-
hear sounds or blind
It was
box or
I think that they made that.
Bird Box.
It's more of a retrospective on human nature, obviously, right? Because of what like John's experience here. I think like really says this is the way human nature. And it's supposed to, like, okay,
Hi,
it's
John.
supposed to teach us. Like,
Oh my God,
guess
it's
like
happening.
kind of a
It's happening.
yeah, I know.
Jonathan's complaining. No, the high def cameras.
Like a
I don't
lesson
know where
about
the high
ourselves.
def camera is somewhere else. I don't know where it is.
So it teaches us about ourselves and stuff like that. But I think that, like, I don't know. I just don't feel like, I don't know. I just don't. I think people are better than that. I guess I just have a weird sense of reality, right? Yeah, there's going to be some spots here and there where things are going to flare up, but I just don't see. I guess I can survive.
So I suppose what you're saying, and separate what could happen and look back at what has happened. We've had two horrific world wars. We've had the Black Plague. We've had all these horrific things that have happened in history. Yet civilization bounces back, communities bounce back, countries grow and cities grow again. So I think you're right. It's in our human nature that bad things can happen, but inevitably, we come together and we'll grow again. And that's what's continued to happen in, all through time. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here with all this technology, having this conversation, separated around the world. Like, there's 6 of us here from 3 different countries. So,
and we made it through, the pandemic, and that was something none of us or any of our parents or stuff ever experienced before.
that was new. That was new.
If
Yeah,
something
see that-
like that was to happen, whether it be, similar to our topic, power and internet and everything disappearing, we're a little bit prepared for it. Even the younger generation, they went through that. Like, imagine, you're in your grad in high school or your final year or whatever, college or whatever part of your life you're in, and that's all canceled because of a year plus long, pandemic kind of thing.
Right.
Like, some people missed out on some pretty, memorable times in their lives. So it was a big thing. The world didn't end because of it. It might have seemed like it for a little while, but I think like Connor's saying, humans as we are, we can persevere and overcome, the great toy shortage of 2020 or whatever.
There you go. And speaking of the great toy shortage and the great toy overabundance,
Nice segue.
of 2023, we'll just segue into the next segment. So here's the headline: Hasbro to cut 1,100 jobs as weak toy sales persist. So we might be looking at a Leave the World Behind event, and maybe the Netflix movie should have been about this.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I want to point out too that this headline it may be misleading.
What?
Well,
A headline misleading?
Yeah, it's very misleading. But
It
plus,
is.
that can't possibly be 17% of their workforce.
That's
So
what
you're
they
telling
say.
me?
That
You tell
Hasbro
me there's
themselves
only
said it.
you tell me there's only 5,000 people who work for Hasbro total?
Worldwide.
Contract-
Maybe 20, John.
The people in the factory are probably just contractors, right? In China.
It's possible. Okay,
Yeah,
so
they wouldn't be employees. So I think I've read a figure today that it's was it globally or is it US? But 8,900 employees. So between the layoffs that were announced this week in the media, and was it 600 or 800 earlier on in the year,
8 or
it
900
equates to
earlier.
about to 20% of the workforce.
Has anyone heard? I know, John, you were saying that these were the in-store reps, but I thought those layoffs already happened.
That was the previous 900.
Has there been any news on like where these people are coming from? Because like the impression I get is that this isn't necessarily impacting the kind of collector lines, and that like more of their core business was what was impacting the changes.
The guys. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, I sit there and have coffee with the Hasbro rep. I had been doing that for the last 4 or 5 years. I know this guy. He's one of my friends. We have phone numbers. He was told in June, I think it was May or June, that he was going to lose his job at the end of the year in December. And but he was going to be paid. He was going to keep working till August, stop working in August, but he's going to stay as a Hasbro employee on the books until December, till the end of the year, so that they give him from August to December to find a job. So his layoff doesn't actually go on the book until the end of the year.
Right, but
even though he was told in June.
That's not unusual for layoffs.
Xerox did the same thing to me.
But it doesn't mean that there aren't other like groups impacted.
I think that the ones that John's talking about with these reps are the ones that they were previously announced. I think these other ones are new. And if you look at their earnings, right, like you can't really necessarily take their HasLabs or whatever into consideration because they're different, right? And I think the action figure market was fairly like stable. I do have this graphic, and this was their third quarter performance. And what I was looking at was, oh, maybe I got the wrong one. Darn it. You can see their entertainment division was way down, but this is the wrong graphic. Sorry about that. I did look at one where it was showing their games division is way down.
It's the
right?
Games,
Like
D&D.
Yeah.
Those are the positions that they're cutting are like skilled positions. So they're the higher paid, some of them positions. You know what I mean?
And some of them are strategic positions as well, which is very telling, because if you look at so all their sales are down, and this is like, I mean, we'll always be biased with the way we think about it because of the Hasbro products we interact with. But if you think of their line, you're talking about Play-Doh, My Little Pony.
Yeah.
You know, there's
fan products
out there.
It's only like 25%, right?
Those products of a whole, the sales have shrank, and that's what's affecting the company.
Right.
Also, earlier in this year, one of their big investors sold off a large proportion of their shares. Now, they were bought up by another investment firm, but that didn't help going into Q3. I think that's why we saw a big push and a lot of pressure for stock to get pushed out just before the end of Q3 to boost those sales. I know that put pressure on some retailers because they had to pay up in advance for all that stock coming at the end of Q3. And what that's done now as well, it's left them kind of shy coming at the end of Q4 because they haven't had a lot of produce or products to put out into the market because they saturated at the end of Q3. That's only the products that we're interested in, which I think, is kind of holding up the company a bit. And from looking at the breakdown of the sales of the company, and I think Hasbro has entered a period where they haven't innovated. So if you think back, when we were kids, there was new products coming out, there was new gimmicks coming out. Hasbro haven't innovated. They've leaned on the same old franchises or same old products for a long time without innovating anything new. They invested heavily into their entertainment department, which your graphic showed, Vern, has earned a loss. And I think they've sold that off recently to a different
entertainment
company.
One. Yeah.
And quite a substantial loss of what they bought for it. So those losses as well. So any sales figure, revenue figures they are making is going to get eaten up on the end of year books with that loss. And unfortunately, that's why 1,100 people now, it's been announced, are losing their jobs, which is sad because that's that's 1,100 families coming into the holiday period.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, they're not getting laid off right before the holidays, right? But they're probably being told. And
yeah, I agree. I think a little of that is misleading. They may be laid off 6 months after Christmas. Like, you know, it's a business, but they operate these things usually quite professionally. And like John was saying about this guy knowing 6 months in advance that his job is being terminated, like not him, but his job is. So he has time to find new work while he's still being compensated by the company, right?
That's not to say they're going to do that for everyone, though.
Yeah, and in Canada, I think we talked about this a little before. We don't have those independent merchandisers and stuff that come into the stores, like someone from Lego, someone from Hasbro, someone from another company. We have there's a lady that comes into my local Walmarts and stuff. She'll arrange the Pokemon cards and then the comic books and then maybe the Lego and the Hasbro and even the candy bars and the Raisinets and the front thing. Like they're like independent merch. I don't know if it's a merchandiser is the best word for it, but they're independent companies now that come in.
That's what Hasbro's moving to.
Yeah,
they're going to pay an outside company to do it instead of their own employees. Yeah,
that's right. Because I know they definitely had a Hasbro person that would come in. Maybe it was weekly. I don't know all the details. Or a Wizards of the West Coast person, people that do the NFL cards and Pokemon cards. But Hasbro had these other companies that they did buy. Hasbro bought that Wizards of the Coast company, which is like a paper printing products company. They can always sell that. That's something. They bought Power Rangers brand. Like they bought that from Zabon or whatever they were called. They can turn it. They just bought that recently. The Fortnite thing. Like these are things that they can sell and license off. Like we see them licensing off the rights for other companies to produce G.I. Joe toys, or this other company that produced these really expensive transforming Optimus Prime robots for
Robosen.
Alice's and just more money made in that licensing.
You brought up a really interesting point there.
In commissions and profits, the licensing is huge. So when people think that they're licensing the Super 7 because they're going broke or no one's buying their own G.I. Joe, no, it's another revenue stream, and it's a very, very generous revenue stream,
and it doesn't hurt. It doesn't.
And all these companies.
If you license your product to somebody else, you get the money regardless of how it goes.
Absolutely,
and you don't have to put anything in.
Like I have licensed my,
but I will say he also
and
told
I've made
me
more money doing that than I've ever made selling just products. Period in my lifetime. So, and I only did that for 1 year where I licensed my artwork, and then it ended. But I mean, it's good money, and if they continue producing that product, you will continue to earn commissions off the person selling the product with your
license. It depends on how they contract
will hold on to their intellectual property.
How you contract it. So it's a good money in the licensing. So if they could have maybe sold the Power Rangers or the paper printing Wizards of the West Coast, Pokemon cards company to maybe save these jobs, or much of these jobs like the people that work at Walmarts or don't work at Walmarts anymore, because all of our Walmarts are like 13 self-checkouts and one checkout that'll take people with their buggies and stuff. It's all just self-checkout lanes now everywhere you go here. It sucks, but I mean, it's the way it is now. It's not going to ever go back. So maybe there's a lot of jobs that can be automated now in Hasbro's, whether it's
that's what I was going to say. If you
like Amazon, they have hardly any people in the warehouses now. It's all forklifts and robots, and then the drivers take their trucks out in the morning. So it might be going to that too. I don't know, but
he told me that they were outsourcing, like his job, the whole rep thing was going to be outsourced to a company that does it, like what you're talking about. But he said also all the ordering, the people who take orders, that's all going to be outsourced. They're no longer going to be Hasbro employees. The people at customer service, the people who run Hasbro Pulse and ship those things out, all that stuff's going to be outside companies that do it now. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of these people that are being laid off are those kind of people. And yeah, some of them might be managers and upper management because they were managing the reps, making $300,000 a year, managing the store reps. You know what I mean? And so that's a high paid position that's gone. You know what I mean? And those people may be losing their job. You know,
He brought up a really good point there about the licensing, and I know you were saying kind of, you know, it's free money, but most companies and most large corporations will hold on to those intellectual property rights and squeeze them for what they can. I think that Hasbro,
but they still are hanging on to those rights.
What's
they
that?
own they still own GI Joe and Transformers, or they license it to pick another company make them. They still own it. They're not selling GI Joe that's Super 7.
But they're handing over that production to another company at a discount for the same. Like, so it's not like they're licensing the rights for GI Joe for someone to go and make books or make cartoons or something. It's like they're going out to other toy companies, and I think that is quite telling. That's
because Hasbro restructured themselves a while back as a media company, not a toy company.
Yeah,
like they're buying these properties.
Producing toys. So Hasbro are producing 6-inch GI Joe. They've tried to go back to the 3 3/4 inch, but they gave that license over the Super 7, and now they're licensing out more to McFarlane. And from looking at that, I think that's quite telling that the writing's on the wall. That, like I said, if a corporation is licensing out its intellectual property to a company that's like for like, that tells me they haven't got confidence in the brand, and they haven't got confidence in what they can do with it themselves. And I think that's quite telling. I know what you're saying, licensing free money, but it's not like it's licensing for a company to produce something different. It's the fact that they're licensed to other toy companies
it's in the same vertical.
I think it's more.
But Hasbro isn't a toy company anymore. They rebranded themselves as a media company, like Disney.
Well, they've just sold off the media side of their company, so I
know that's the thing too. That's what's funny about it is they rebranded themselves as a media company, and the movies and their media outlet has been doing the worst. So
I think it's a better time for them to offer those licenses to those other, like, so there's Hiya Toys. They make 3 3/4 style GI Joes. There's 3-0, which makes 12-inch GI Joe kind of toys. You know, whether it's a Gentle Giant, Sideshow and Hot Toys. Now Super 7 with their 7-inch and 3-inch. McFarlane making those little 2-inch comic book ones. They're all little niche kind of properties, but I mean, each of them, they're making huge licensing money. And maybe 10 years from now, there's zero interest in the GI Joe property, and they're just capitalizing that now's the time. The GI Joe retro is popular now.
About Marvel and DC licensing out their intellectual property rights to different toy companies to produce them. We're talking about a toy company that owns its license, that's licensing out to other toy companies.
It's always happened.
Connor,
Mr. Potato Head and Jenga and all these toys, they were licensed out to several different toy companies before the deal was right, and it became
but what I think Connor's saying is, like, when the products are so similar in the same vertical, that is saying that's Hasbro basically signaling to the market that we can't scale operations efficiently to meet the demand for those markets. So we're gonna give whatever else to someone else. I think that, like, Robosen kind of partnership, that's a bit more unique because the amount of R&D that would be required for that is, like, probably astronomical compared to whatever it takes to produce a 3 3/4 like O-ring toy, right? But
Eric,
it's not like DC
what
Comics.
Was that, Dan?
I said I'm glad you said that because I was going to make a comparison to Sears.
DC Comics is with several toy companies as well as Marvel Toys.
No, but it's not like DC Comics is licensing and having IDW make DC Comics.
No,
they're not giving them to another comic book company to make comic books.
As a Marvel brand, right? Like Disney themselves, they don't need Hasbro or McFarlane or Tomy or Play School. They own all their own. They own many toy factories of their own. they make their own products for the parks and their store and their clothes but all these other companies like that make the purses and Her Universe and Hasbro and Hot Toys, all these companies pay licensing fees to the mouse himself to be allowed to make products. So there's more money. I tried to make it real simple. There's more money in that than there is on just mass producing product. If you own a property or there's no property,
but it's not what you think, Rick. Because
I've experienced. I know licensing, and it's.
But this is what I'm saying. So Sears sold Craftsman for $900 million, where it
huge.
was right. But here's the thing: they pretty much tanked afterwards. That was if you look at the article.
Sears make $900 million.
Then
it's all good. No one and nothing else matters. Like
what was it like?
I'm selling the brand for high money.
The only reason they sold it was because they were going under. If
it wasn't, they have gone under.
They needed that capital. They would have never sold.
And it's probably still the number one non-breaking tool brand like ever made. Like the Craftsman brand was always the most popular tool brand. The company still went under.
Now it's just a name.
I actually remember in university, we had a case study in one of my accounting classes on Sears and how like the Craftsman brand and Sears Holdings in Hoffman Estates, Illinois, were like the only entities that were essentially keeping Sears
them alive, right?
Yeah.
It's an amazing story. Like I've learned a lot about the Sears company too, because it like we in Canada we've got the Hudson Bay Company. That's one of the first ever stores ever, right? Like people trading beaver pelts for blankets and stuff like that. But it's interesting to see which of these companies are willing to pay for all these licenses. Like the king of the licensing or paying for licensing is the Funko company with all their Funko Pops. Like they're paying. Some of them are really cheap. Some are very expensive. Like we know the expensive ones. We're all familiar with Star Wars and Marvel, probably the top licensing fees you'll pay. Then there's the really small, the ones that are really small, like Betty Boop and maybe the Golden Girls or just weird properties that Funko Pop makes that other companies would never even consider touching. But it's weird that Funko is. A lot of money goes into licensing, so they spend a lot of money to be allowed to sell their product. But their products are cheap to make, and they make high profit on them. So
I want to say I've asked this to folks in the community before, but if Hasbro continues to go down this kind of path financially, do you think that there's a day when someone like the Walt Disney Company comes in and just buys them for pennies on the dollar?
Yep,
it's totally possible.
No,
yeah,
we paid.
I don't. No, I don't see that happening. I don't see any reason why Disney would want to buy a company like that just so they can continue to make the products that Hasbro was making. I mean, it's almost like.
I don't think it's that. I think it would be like more like they just acquired the rights to G.I. Joe and Transformers and
it would be bigger than that.
But what would happen?
Also Wizard of the Coast.
I think it would be Amazon or Google or someone.
Yeah, somebody else would buy them.
Someone will buy Hasbro at some point because I think it's going that way. I think Hasbro has lost its height in the market because.
I don't see that at all.
I don't see Disney wanting the G.I. Joe brand because it's
military
and war.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair enough.
But maybe a Super 7 company might be willing to buy that brand outright.
They could divest certain assets, right?
I don't see Super 7
we are
being
talking
able to
about how
afford
to
it.
try and save Hasbro. I don't think Hasbro's doing too poor.
No, it's a certain division. What they need to do is they need to skin their, slim down. They need to get rid of all these extremes.
Yeah, but if me, Rick, if I was like the product designer and the My Little Pony team or just whatever random, and other people, like I said, that maybe worked in the warehouse in Pakistan, we don't know any of the details.
Yeah,
and I watched interviews with the Hasbro team over the past week on different YouTube channels. A couple people brought that up. and they're like, ixnay on the Hasbro. Hey, like it's not even public kind of knowledge. It's just stuff that kind of leaked through media groups and whatever, and it'll get addressed by Hasbro, whether it's all false.
I think
it was cool to see someone in kind of our circles get in one of those panels, seeing Mark on there from Blue Harvest.
Yeah, and all the love for the retros that it seemed like a lot of people have too. But I don't think they're doing as poor, like if John worked for Lego. If Lego announced tomorrow we're laying off 100 jobs just in Florida, but one of them's not John's, that doesn't affect John. It doesn't affect any of the people in Florida that maybe buy the Lego. So it's always sad when people lose a job, but usually big companies like this, stuff like this happens, man. Like it's
the store would go first. Like the people who work at the Lego store are Lego employees.
Yeah, but
so they've said a number of times if we need to scale down, the stores are what's going to close down first.
I can see that. There's a lot of money.
And they could get that, but worldwide, those stores probably employ 10,000 people on their own.
And whatever real estate costs for the
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But I do have to say that like working for Lego gives me the privilege of seeing the numbers every year. And when I first started for Lego in the first 4 or 5 years, Hasbro has always been the number one toy company. This year, the last report that we got, Mattel was number one and Lego was number two, and Hasbro had moved down to number three. So somewhere in the last couple years, Hasbro moved from number one to number three, and Lego moved up to number two, and Mattel is number one.
What's that attributed to? Is I was just going to say, what's that attributed to? Is it?
To be frank, a lot of Mattel's numbers is because of the Barbie movie. The Barbie movie really shot
a flash in the pan. Yeah, that's a flash in the pan.
So next year they may not be that high because the Barbie movie. They're going to do American Girl next, which is why the hell would they do that?
But Mattel have had success with the Mode to Origin lines as well over the last couple.
And Hot Wheels has been selling more than they've ever sold.
But
they have a lot of their own brands as well.
Like you said, mismanagement and lack of innovation. Like you said, they leaned too heavily on some of the franchises. No new products, no new toys. They're still trying to sell Play-Doh, Mr. Potato Head, or whatever to kids.
There's the new laser tag or the But Sphero, remember those?
If you look at the financials, for the year, their revenue is seriously down. Coming into the end of the fourth quarter, their share price has dropped. They are actively in a cost-saving strategy by cutting jobs. We are seeing their products ending up in bulk and mass at discount stores. And we're talking the same year when we saw a lot of companies were shrinking staff early on in the year, such as Microsoft, JP Morgan, Walmart. Yeah. So, that was happening. But taking into account, we're at the end of the year now. We've seen the oil prices that were at the start of the year are pretty much the same prices now. Shipping container costs which escalated last year, have crawled back to pre-levels. I don't have access to Chinese labor market costs or the total factor productivity numbers for China. But from the numbers I'm looking at, I don't think Hasbro are in a very stable position ending 2024 and 2023 and going into 2024. Again, with that lack of innovation, I don't see too much on the horizon. I know Gijoe is one of the leading brands for them at the moment. Without new Marvel franchises for Legends, struggling to sell Black Series at escalated prices, I just think they're in a very weak position going into the new year. And as Eric, you alluded to Disney. I don't think it'd be Disney, but they could find themselves in a takeover situation fairly shortly if they continue going where they're going.
Yeah,
I mean, we're coming out of a recession now. I mean, like, the Fed here didn't raise interest rates, so that's really good. So people are going to have more money. Prices should be coming down. But the thing is, if Hasbro doesn't lower their prices, I think their problem is they're competing in a different market for action, especially for action figures, right? Like if I'm going to spend $35 on an action figure, I'm going to start looking at Mythic Legions and some of these other ones that are maybe within that same price point because they are different and maybe they're built better. I don't know because I don't have a lot, but I'm not going to stick with, because, you know, with me, the Legends and the Black Series were a very affordable way to get like a collection of my Star Wars figures. But if I have to then scale back how many I'm buying because now the price is basically double, you know, or close to it than when I first started, I'm gonna start going for those more elite or better quality figures that, you know, just have more variations and accessories or whatever.
Well, that's
like,
hey, Vern, to
that's
that
only
point,
the adult collector, though, right?
Yeah.
I don't see any kids like going into Walmart and saying, "Where's the Mythic
well, that's
Legion?"
different. Hold on, what were you gonna say, Dan?
so I got to go here, but I'm going to leave you
Okay.
with this bomb and food for thought. Okay. So the number one, like the biggest cost that a company has is labor. I can tell you that's probably, I think anybody in the industry of manufacturing would agree. That's one of their biggest concerns. In
100%.
2019, we all agree, I think, that 2020 had a big boom of toys, right?
Yep.
Isn't that where we all started? In 2019, Hasbro had 5,600 employees. By 2021, they had 6,822. So if you think about it this way, they beefed up, right, for the need for the
Bubble.
business, right? And now they're dropping back down. If you subtract that difference from 2019, it's like 890 employees, which is still, you know, what, 130, 140 people that lost their jobs. And I'm not saying that's a small matter at all, but it seems a lot less when you think about the over hiring that they did in 21 and
Good
20 to get to that point, you know. So.
And that's a great point.
Correcting.
That's
Everything's
a great
correcting.
point because they had a boost, and I think someone used the word bubble there. I've said for a long time, you know, we were in a bubble and it's burst. And that's where the leaders of the company, the strategists of the company, the heads of the company missed out on their management of the company. And like I said, they didn't strategize, and they didn't modernize, and they didn't prepare anything new. They kind of kept it stagnant and hoped for the best. And I think it's fallen down on them now. And I know they're using words like headwinds, which they're talking about, as you said, you know, associated labor costs, and we've got, you know, astronomical energy costs at the moment. But all those costs are slowly coming back down towards the end of the year. And I just think, like I said, looking at their final figures for the year, they've left themselves in a really weakened position. Mm-hmm. And again, going by what you said, that, you know, that height, that boom from 2020, lack of innovation, lack of design, lack of management,
too many people
capitalize on it, and has left them in a weakened position.
Yeah, no, it's all
you guys have a good night.
See you, Dan.
See you later.
Thanks.
See you, Dan.
Have any of you guys worked for a big company and, you know, been part of a layoff, like where it's not just you being fired because, you know, you stole the boss's laptop, but you got laid off because
Xerox.
Is that what happened, Rick? Is that what happened at the last job?
Photocopiers anymore.
You took the boss's
when I worked
laptop?
at Xerox, they were laying off like 5,000 employees, and I was part of that.
Yeah,
but I chose to go. What they did is they said, we got to lay off 5,000 people. My department was getting rid of 560, and I was chosen to stay. But I went to the boss and said, hey, I want to move out to Seattle. I don't want this job anyways, so give it to somebody else. I'll take the layoff. So they gave it to my lab partner, Pete, because they needed one of us to stay. So Pete was older. I was like, he's 50 years old. His mom's in the hospital. He just paid off his house. Pete's not in a position to have to go look for another job. So give Pete my job, and I'll take the layoff. And they did the same thing even back then. That was before I moved to Seattle. So that was 25, 30 years ago. And I left.
So that power outage was really a long time ago.
I left in September, and they paid me to the end of the year. So when I moved out to Seattle, I was still being paid while I was living in my first couple months in Seattle by Xerox, you know?
Yeah.
When did the wagon with all your personal effects arrive?
2001. It was 2001
Many
when I
years
moved out
later.
to Seattle.
It was all still frozen. But
Yeah.
compared to, like, we were talking about the Hasbro and what they're going through with how many employees they have. Now, not to just compare apples to oranges, but then you got companies like the Mythic Legions where they don't have, 4,000 employees. And when the talent they use, like say the talent they use to maybe sculpt the toys, which is what they're known for, is their sculpt and their details. So they have a crew of people that, let's say they're not full-time employees. They're on a contract basis. So they'll pay them either by the hour or by the project or every 3 months or whatever agreement they make. And I believe that the Hasbros and Mattels and these other big companies are kind of going that way. So
I think you're right, Rick. I think that's
you got the big Hasbro headquarters, in their building. They have several people working on the computers doing design, several people in-house maybe doing 3D printing, several people in-house doing the marketing, listening to the marketing bosses, a whole department that's accounting people, another department that's, dealing with the internet and the website. So right there's 500 people just in that building working in all these departments. Pandemic happened. All of those people were sent home. They weren't fired. They're like, all you can work from home. If you're, the janitor, we'll find something else for you to do or whatever. But it's kind of started with that. And then slowly, eventually, a lot of the positions came back to the office, like say the accounting department or, certain designers. But a lot of those people are still working remotely and will never, ever go back to the office. And some of those offices are even closed now.
Yeah, that's what they said in their release, right?
On the news and these news press releases
The
that
closed down.
Yeah, they closed down one place in Rhode Island, and they're going to relocate everybody.
Pawtucket,
yeah, so there is some of that. It's not saying that's completely what they're doing, but sure, some of it is done. They've scaled down maybe the sculpting department or the the digital design department, and they might source out some of the stuff. Like that's kind of how I got some of the work I get from the Gentle Giant, because they don't have an art department, so to speak, where they have a crew of 7 different people sculpting all their products. It's all outsourced. All the art and design and sculpting and in-house is like sales and accounting and marketing.
Do you guys think that in the same week they announced 1,100 job cuts, it was a good idea to do a Marvel Legends stream announcing new products?
Again, Hasbro did not announce this. This was released by another news source that's not Hasbro. So Hasbro has not released this. If you go to Hasbro press releases, they have not made a press release saying we're laying off a bunch of people. They maybe will eventually, but I mean, just the way you worded that, it's like, it's.
Well, they also had the Star Wars brand team Q&As. They
didn't know these announcements were on the news.
Well, they still had an opportunity to pause them, right?
Yeah.
Like I think
I don't think their business was affected by it. That's why one of the questions was asked to I think her name's Emily. She kind of said, "We're fine. Our team is fine. That team."
They didn't say that on the Marvel show. You guys were like, "We really like standing next to you." At the end, we really like being here. There was like a whole.
Yeah. So they were having a little fun with it.
I think so, and I was like, "Oh, that."
I didn't watch the Marvel one,
but whatever.
But that is something else that they could. That is something else that they could outsource to other people. Because, if you sit there and think about it, there's plenty of toy YouTubers out there that are even on Hasbro's list, and not just Hasbro, but they're on Hasbro's list, they're on Mattel's list, they're on all these different toy company lists, that they could just be like, okay, we're going to get rid of all these, and what we're going to do is we're going to send a press release kit, some samples to these 3 YouTubers, and we're going to pay them. And we're going to pay them for the one video.
They didn't even have to pay them, John, because
they do that already, right?
From YouTube.
Yeah, some people
10,000 people watch or 5,000
Yeah.
people watching that stream or whatever it was. If some YouTuber had that and they sent it to them, they would gladly do it. They send me, like finally started sending me their Marvel Legends like a product pictures, right?
Yeah, the press
in the
pictures,
beginning, I was like happy to like post them and stuff like that, but I couldn't get past the Marvel to get the other brands, and I was like, well, some of the stuff I don't even want to post because what do I want? I'm not even into that. And then I sort of I sort of felt like
that's why I think if they want to go through,
I wouldn't buy.
If they want someone to go through the whole thing in exactly the way they want to do it, I think they would go like, here's $500 to do the video, on top of all this stuff. Because companies do that already for a 30-second or for a 5-second.
Yeah, YouTube has
a
thing built in where you can do a brand connect and a brand can reach out to you and say, hey, we'll pay you this much to do like a video or whatever of our product. So they have that. They could use that process to build a brand.
Well, not only that, I mean, like League of Legends just contacted in my email, and I wrote them back saying what's involved, and they said you have to make a 10-second spot in the middle of your video. We'll give you video and footage of the game and stuff, and they pay you $1,000 for doing that 10-second thing.
Oh, you should do it.
Yeah, that's different. That's part of their marketing.
So what are you waiting for?
It's like you're only doing
have a marketing budget to pay people on YouTube and stuff in dollars.
So I think they would pay them. They would pay them.
The people that get paid by those companies are, I don't know their names off the top of my head, but there's 2 or 3 guys. I think they're all guys, very talented stop motion guys, like what Vern and some of you guys do.
Well, thank you,
These guys take those really good ones and they do them for NECA or Mezco or
that guy
for all the
companies. Really good.
They get paid. They don't just get sent, here's a free Spider-Man figure. No, they actually get paid because that's their job. So but the YouTubers and the people on Instagram with purple hair, that people have made fun of in the past, they get sent these boxes of toys and Ahsoka toys because they're social influencers, and that's their pay. Their pay is
getting from
enjoy your Ahsoka headband and your chopper remote control toy, and please make a nice little video, And if this is all garbage, then they don't send you those boxes of toys anymore. That's how that goes. So the social influencer thing is kind of still new, because we didn't have social influencers back when we were kids. We just had TV commercials, and they
they'd be a little bit more careful who they're picking to influence.
So that is also part of some of their marketing budget, is sending out these care packages to, and I've done it too. I've sent pins to Retro Blasting and to Steve Sansweet and to Gus. Just here's some swag. If you guys make pictures and videos about it, great. If not, here's some swag anyway, right? So it's part of your marketing budget is to maybe get some influencers to promote your brand, right?
Rick, this is going off on a tangent now, so I apologize. But since you mentioned old school kind of toy TV commercials and whatnot, or adverts, whatever you want to call them, I sort of wish Hasbro would do something like really funny and make I'm 36. I was born in '87, so I wasn't around for all the retro Kenner stuff, but I've seen all those commercials. It would be freaking hilarious and really smart of them to make recreations of those types of commercials, as cheesy as they were. People with Gen X.
I'm in.
Now.
I'll do it.
Right,
Me and Tom will get together and we'll play with our R2D2.
Like the one where Chewbacca shows up. He's got Chewbacca in the house plant. The house plant is in a planter, and it goes, "Here's Chewbacca." Oh, R2D2.
I don't know. Some of those sets they did for those old ads were pretty good.
I don't even see toy commercials anymore.
But wouldn't that be genius of them? To try and revive, make it fun
commercials with his pins.
We should just do it.
Recreating. He has the chips. He could be running around the yard with them.
My 10-year-old iPhone, it's not the best, man. I try.
But it does. What you've been dancing around though is a good point. Like the media company, the whole thing. Like The only thing that I think I've seen in recent years that has come on any kind of television is that new Transformers stuff. Like, part of the problem, I think, with a lot of Hasbro's issues with toys is they're everything has first and foremost always been a television product, a cartoon. The reason us kids love G.I. Joe was because we watched it every day after school. We watched Transformers every day after school, Gem and the Holograms. Like, that whole 2 hours after school was all Hasbro products.
Saturday mornings too was a lot of it too.
It's Saturday mornings. It was like He-Man, the Master Universe, and it was Mattel and Hasbro products.
Hold on,
You know,
and
so if they didn't just do that Transformers on Netflix, if they went and did G.I. Joe and brought back Gem and the Holograms, did like a My Little Pony thing, and you know what I mean?
Integrated marketing campaigns.
Yeah,
I heard the rumor they are working on a Gem and the Holograms. And
if all these products were back on television in some way, and that's why I think a media company might buy them, like Amazon or Netflix maybe, or Google. Like, they're going to buy Hasbro, and then they're going to put out. I don't think we're going to see toys right away. I think we're going to see cartoons. They're going to bring back the G.I. Joe cartoons. They're going to bring back Transformers, My Little Pony. They're going to take all those things and put them back on the television where they belong. And then, if the interest is there, the toys come secondary. You know.
Sadly, no, not a lot of people watch TV anymore. The figures for television viewership have completely
interweb,
and I think that's why.
Really, like my mom's on some streaming service every single moment of the day. The TV never shuts off. My dad is on TV all day. I have the streaming TV on all day. Yeah, I'm not talking broadcast. I'm saying Netflix or Amazon Prime is going to put them on Prime or on Netflix. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Today, when I say TV today, I mean it's an app running a streaming app. It's not broadcast. Does broadcast?
Speaking of Reacher, what did you guys think of the first 3 episodes?
Hold on a second before we move on to that. Eric was talking about doing commercials, and Rick was talking about how he sends pins to people to do commercials. So I just wanted to put this up there, and I'm wondering where my pins are.
And the red one, come on.
Right here.
Well, come on, Red, let's go.
Marketing. Merchandise.
Uncle Owen.
Yeah?
The R2 unit has a bad motivator, look.
Excuse me, sir, but that R2 unit is in prime condition.
Do you have a longer version of this one too?
Uncle Owen.
Yeah?
What about that one?
There's no Uncle Owen.
I'm quite sure you'll be very pleased with that one, sir. He really is in first-class condition. I've worked with him before.
What is 3PO trying to do to Luke?
He's whispering in his ear about, hey, let's go get the blue one.
Okay.
Now, don't you forget this. Why I should stick my neck out for you is quite beyond my
This should win an award.
Yeah.
All right.
I like the sand grains.
Nice.
No Uncle Owen pin. Anyways, I haven't watched Reacher yet.
Oh, dude, it's so entertaining. Much like that movie, like maybe there's stuff that doesn't make sense or is silly or is about friends. But I mean, in the end, it was just a good, entertaining little movie. Reacher, I really liked the season 1. The character, he's just a badass, kick-ass, violent, maybe a little silly kind of joke, one-liner here and there. Yeah, it's just good, entertaining show. And now this season 2, it just changed. It's a new story. He's got a whole crew of military people he used to work with that are getting.
Oh, so now he's got it. Now he's the A-team.
Pretty much, like and there's 3 actors from Peacemaker. So as soon as I saw the first one, I'm like, oh, interesting. And then I saw the second one. I'm like, wait a minute, this is obviously made in Vancouver because these are all Vancouver actors. And then I found out it was all made here. So it makes it even better.
But isn't Reacher supposed to be like the loner dude? I mean, it's not supposed to have.
Yeah, he's a homeless guy who owns like a broken toothbrush. So they go to this hotel and she's like, "Are you all unpacked?" He goes in his pocket, pulls out his broken toothbrush. I'm unpacked.
I'll have to check it out.
But he's
wants to do
He's just like a machine, and then people, whatever.
Oh, so everybody else handles solving the mystery, and he just shows up to be the brawn.
Yeah, like Penny.
Okay.
There's a lot of that. It's pretty good. Everyone's tough on the show, but it's good. It's a good show.
I'm not watching. I am watching this show called Slow Horses on Apple TV Plus. It's in its 3rd season. I got to tell you, that's probably one of my favorite UK British spy type shows, and it's about a group of like misfit MI5 guys who are relegated to working in some. Yeah, and
good?
Gary Oldman is just great in it.
Is it funny or
what?
Is it funny or is it more serious?
It's kind of serious, but it's got like a little bit of a comedic tone because they're so dysfunctional. You know what I mean? It's just funny. Their dysfunction is funny. Look, I almost dropped Connor to the floor. No, but like just watching Gary Oldman, he's a great actor. That guy,
definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll check that one out. Nothing else new I watched. The Reacher, just yesterday I watched it because 3 episodes popped up. I'm like, oh, watch that. Thank you. I'm looking forward to Rebel Moon. I hear people already talking crap about it, but I'm like, hell man, it's a high-budget science fiction movie. I'll watch it.
All right.
Barbie's out on streaming now.
Yeah, it's on Max, HBO Max.
I'm gonna watch it.
Paramount Plus has that movie with the Tommy Lee Jones, where he's got a fishing boat or something like that.
Yeah,
and then he gets it seized because he fishes in Canadian waters. I didn't know the Canadians were so
we're badass.
strict about fishing in their waters. I don't know why you would go fishing Canadian waters.
But yeah, the trailer
they probably have like higher standards for like water protection and whatnot.
The trailer
probably they don't let you get away with anything. You can't fish in Canadian waters unless your boat has both the French and the English on the side.
If we're all going to start boasting about how great our fishermen are, don't forget the Irish fishermen beat the Russian Navy 2 years ago when we chased them out of Irish waters.
There you go.
That's all right. All right, we're gonna do some reveals. You guys can play along, hot or not, if you want. Otherwise, we'll just talk about them and see what we think. Are these the reason that Hasbro is having so much trouble? And the first one we see is the Vintage Collection Jango Fett, just in time for the anniversary of the prequels, right?
It looks good, but it was like $25-$26 for a TVC figure that doesn't have as much as the previous iteration had.
I'll buy it when it shows up at Ross for $3.99.
Exactly, right? For $3.99.
Yeah, because I would like the figure. It's a great looking figure. I would like it. I do want it in my collection, but not at $30 or whatever it is. So not at $20.
You said this actually comes with less than the previous version.
Yeah, the previous one came with it like a head set or whatever that he wears in Slave 1, as well as the cloak.
Soft goods too, right?
The previous one had some soft goods.
Charging more for less.
This is where I get worried because when I see this Jango Fett and I know that we got these anniversaries of the prequels coming up, and having seen what Hasbro had done with like Boba Fett, I just start feeling very uneasy that we're going to have a gazillion kind of like Jango Fetts or something like that as like a headline of what's going to be coming out over the next 3 or 4 years. And I really want additional characters, right? Like we're going to get the Phantom.
You're going to have him without his armor. You're going to have a Jango Fett without his armor on.
Right.
Jango Fett with his armor.
But I do think that the detail on this has improved compared to the first version of this. I think the paint is better.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous figure. It's beautiful, actually. It's a nice sculpt. I like the paint on it as well. It's clean, it's nice, it's bright.
I have a feeling that when they release Hammerhead finally in the Vintage Collection, it'll be in a deluxe box with 3 glasses or something.
With 3 cups. Yeah.
TVC. I don't know what makes this a deluxe.
It's the paint.
Fire effect.
It has 2 heads.
The fire effect. Okay.
And the two heads.
So everybody wants it, but it's overpriced.
Correct.
I don't want it.
Right.
I think if TVC was my main line, I'd probably be more inclined to get it. But I'm mainly a Black Series collector.
Yeah,
so
I have not picked up one 3-inch figure from Ross except for a 3-inch GI Joe. Every single one of those that I found, they were a great price, but I did not buy one of them because I'm not a vintage collection.
I
bought all of them.
I
bought all of them, and some of them I bought 2 of.
Ryan is saying I am going to go back though because I think Mopart was saying that he passed on some of the retros, so I'm going to go back and see if I can pick some of those up for him.
Yeah, don't pass on the retros.
What about this?
No.
Now I saw
this. This bothers me because I want the Super Battle Droid, but I don't want the damn 3PO.
Time out. Everyone complaining about that, and this not coming with the B1 head needs to quit whinging. The B1s will continue to get made, and the B2s, we will get more of them. They will be single-carded. You will get to army build them. Quit your bitching.
The day after these ships, they will reveal the deluxe Super Battle Droid for.
How about I just buy a Battle Droid on clearance and a C-3PO on clearance and do a head swap?
No,
it will come out single,
and they're charging more than 2
Let me just do it right now.
They could have. They could have
come out single because this is sprayed with dirt.
I would
special. That's the special version. Is the one that's sprayed with dirt. Correct. They're going to come out with a clean version within like 2 or 3 months.
And other repaints and whatnot. They'll have the rocket variant. And
the rocket arm one. Yeah.
Right. So like we're going to get more B2s now, Connor. I think you're instead of having the B1 alternate right ahead for this. Other accessories or some other add-ons, I think, would be appreciated for the price. That may be a fair point, but like,
here's another question.
Hold on. People, the argument. I get mildly annoyed about hearing the complaints about the B1 head should be in there because I want to army build with this. This pack isn't intended to do this, right? This is the way that they are funding the development of the B2 molds.
I'm not coming about. So forget about army building. Forget about army building. When you're buying a product, would it not have been extra value to give that extra head that you have 2 choices to use with the figure?
Yes, that's
where
they made a mistake.
So I come from that perspective. Now I'm going to ask you a question, Eric. Would you prefer this 2-pack, or would you prefer the 2-pack with 2 battle droids?
This all day.
So let me ask you a question. Hold on.
Because I wanted that
coming in a single pack, would you just wait for it?
See, here, Connor. The only improvement on this that I would make is to have the 3PO with the battle droid head, the body, the inverse.
And for the extra money they're charging, because again, it's
they
a 2-pack,
will.
they're charging more. Would it not have been cool to do the blast effect for the battle droid?
Sorry, what?
You booted.
I think they could have thrown in a blast effect for the battle droid. You know, if you want to pose and shoot.
Yeah. No, that would have
been on accessories.
I don't know. I like this. We're going to get more of the B2s. This to me is more than like there have been that's just going to come off wrong, but there have been worse products out there, and this is something I have wanted in my collection. I am excited to get this.
Yeah, it is. It's a great product offering because it's 2 figures that again, you can question the C-3PO head or whatever, but it's a version of a character from the prequels. Plus, we're getting a brand new figure. And I just think that they're putting it in a 2-pack. So they're trying to just up the sales on it. They're putting a bit more price or money on the price tag. I just think for what they're offering for that price, they could have gone a step further, thrown in the extra head for the droid and thrown in a blast effect for the battle droid.
I agree. I agree with
I just think that would have been
very much missed.
Here's the problem with this
product presentation.
So here's the problem with this: that the Super Battle Droid will come packaged by itself, but when it does, I fear it's going to be a deluxe figure.
It will be, of course.
It's going to be like almost $40.
Yeah, because it's bigger.
By itself.
Like Zeb and Rekka or whoever's deluxe Grievous.
And I don't care about the extra head for the C-3PO. I just think that for that other battle droid, I just think that you don't have to wait for that. You could make that now.
Yeah. I believe both of these figures will be released individually on their own. So
I don't think they will release the 3PO on the B1 body.
I don't either.
This will be the only way you can get that figure.
Wait, Eric, I think that what they'll do is they'll release that C-3PO on the battle droid, but on a card back.
It's possible.
That's what I think that will be released individually as.
I don't think there's any figure they've released in the multi-pack that they have not also released single value since they started Black Series.
Yeah, I'd rather they not. I'd rather them make
it be the only way to get it to make it special. But I have a feeling.
No. I don't care about making it special. I just including it with this. I want that 3PO head on the B1 body. I want the B2, right? This is a way to get it. Now move on. Give me some more new stuff. I don't care about getting a carded version of
they need to do the other
one with the 3PO.
Yeah, but they'll definitely be doing a whole carded set for the anniversary, right? So that's why I'm saying
maybe I don't know.
I mean, they throw it on there. I mean, we're gonna obviously repack Jar Jar Binks. Got to get another 500 Jango Fett's, right?
The main thing I'm worried about with the B2 is will it be too top heavy? Because
these photos are fake, right?
The HK droid is horrible with standing, and that's not that doesn't even have anywhere near the level of
and the 3 3/4 inch B2s they fall over in my display all the time. They're all laying
these won't
down.
Stand like that. These are fake images. These are computer generated.
Oh, you know what though?
We're looking at. They won't stand on one.
Surprises me that these are not pipeline reveals.
Well, sometimes they just surprise you.
They did pipeline this.
They pipelined the Super Battle Droid. I don't think they pipelined C-3PO.
No, I'm pretty sure they pipelined this exact set earlier this year.
I'll have to go back.
I might be wrong.
They still don't have product pictures, though. Obviously,
yeah. Captain Mule is also correct. It was on a tan body. Yeah.
The other battle droid.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, this is the Geonosis
video game. Super Battle.
Well, they didn't watch the movie. How are they supposed to know?
They're told. Okay, now get on to the retros first.
All right.
Oh man, you forgot.
I like this. This looks cool.
This is cool. This is hot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the wings just look fantastic on it. Yeah. It reminds me of let me see if I have it here.
They still make Marvel Legends?
I don't remember Angel with the red red suit.
Yeah, that was cool. 90s.
Is that Archangel? Is that his name?
Well, no,
he's an angel here.
Archangel when Apocalypse gets to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on, is this not a figure from Dogma?
Ben Affleck.
There you go.
I'm disappointed Vern didn't do the retros.
This fell off, but I have the Hawkman that has the wings that kind of come out, and I did always like the ones where they have the different pinning.
Yeah, it needs to have. This one's got 3 joints.
It looks like it looks like it has 3 sections.
Yeah, it looks amazing though. I mean, when they have them posed, it looks really good.
I haven't bought that Hawkman because of the price. I've been waiting for him to get down under $20.
Are you talking about the McFarlane one?
Yeah, the McFarlane. I want the Hawkman, but he's every time I see him, he's $40.
Yeah, it's still.
I don't think he should be that expensive. When he's under 20, I'll get him.
Huh. And then, are you guys all interested in these Wolverine 2-packs?
Not getting this one. No, not this one
either. I'm like, what?
I like Wolverine.
There's one set I do like, and I think it's cool that they're bringing out these sort of more obscure figures or characters.
Yeah,
in figure form for some of the collectors. So It's good. Now this Wolverine is nice, but for that price point, I don't want that second character.
I'm gonna hope that people break these up, and I'll buy just Wolverine.
Yeah,
You already have this Wolverine 3 times, though, probably.
Oh, you know
I
what,
don't have
John?
this one.
You're right, because if people break these packs up, the Wolverine will be less expensive than the other one. So they'll just try to get a little bit back so they can just have that other one in their collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Hey,
mother.
I don't know what this pose is. Is there like an invisible box that she's got?
Like,
one
yeah,
leg on?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What about this?
This
Here's
was
what-
cool. This is cool, but I don't know.
My
How much was this?
My
I'm all over
problem
this.
is
Good Hulk.
I love it, except for the articulation on Hulk is going to be horrible,
Yeah.
right?
But you're not really supposed to. You're just supposed to
It's
stand
the
up like
Kingpin
this.
body with a new head, right? Or that gray Hulk, or the
It's
other.
the gray. It looks like it's the gray Hulk sculpt, the one that they just came out with, and they just put it on a giant suited body.
Well,
So-
Paul Harding, the sculptor, the head on both of these are brand new heads because he was showing them off.
Oh, so they are brand new. So they're not the same as the other
Well, I
ones.
think that with the Wolverine you just showed, the only
Uh-huh.
thing new on Wolverine is his head, and then the
Okay.
other Wolverine pack, the only thing new on that set is Wolverine's head. So that's, we all know Hasbro reuses lots of parts. So, you know, the suit bodies exist, both of these. But I like it.
This
I like
is
it.
this
I-
this
anything
this,
else.
this is the pack I'm buying because I have been waiting for this Sabretooth.
He's
I
out
I
have
have
there.
been
version of the
waiting.
Sabretooth.
I have been waiting like 10 years. My display has been missing Sabretooth for like 10 years, and there he finally is, the one I want.
Yeah,
He's
I have
finally here.
the Toy Biz version that's like this, right?
Yeah.
It's
There's
kind of like
3
my
Marvel
opinion
Legend
of it.
versions of him that look, I think, the exact same.
No, they don't.
No,
None of them
that-
had
that-
the high. None of them had the high fur and looked like this. Nope.
You could Google it.
And
you'll
I
find
think the offering of Wolverine in this is so out there and obscure. I think it's a cool figure. So I think you're getting 2 really good figures in
Yeah.
this pack or characters in this pack. I'm all in for this one 100%.
Yeah,
This is the
that-
pack I'm buying. Yeah.
The hat looks awesome on the Wolverine. The weight, the outfit that he's in, the Wolverine just looks really cool. So this is actually probably the best 2-pack set. Now,
Yeah.
I have to ask a question. Besides that, Cyclops and the Dark Phoenix, are all the 2-pack? No, okay, no. Colossus was with Juggernaut, right?
Yeah.
I'm
it's Colossus and
I was
Juggernaut.
trying to imagine like Wolverine was in every single one of their 2-packs, but I
There's
figured
a
out.
Wolverine and a Hulk one, and
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
this Wolverine, except for his chest, which is a jacket, or it's a
Because it was
shirt.
that Old Man Logan, Old Man Hawkeye.
I got the Sentinel and Wolverine 2-pack, which is basically that Wolverine with a cowboy hat, but he's got more of a jacket on than a
right.
shirt. Than
It's
that one.
brown.
Well, I like this one with the chest hair painted on. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that looks cool. Lack, that's not Wolverine, that's me.
And not getting.
More or less. Yeah.
They need to actually come up with the Brood before they come out with Brood versions of the characters.
Yeah.
I
Like,
guess.
where's my Legends Brood creature? You know.
This is a beautiful figure. I think they've done a great job. Am I right in saying the mount is articulated on this?
Is it?
Is
Yeah.
it?
I
I
think
didn't
so,
look
there's
at
only
I'm
one
not
head.
sure.
I think.
Maybe the chat would have, but I just think for now, I'm not again. I'm not going for this. I'm not going in for it. But
Not buying
I
it.
just
No.
really like the look or the sculpt of this figure. And if it has that articulation in the mouth, that's an extra add-on to get them with the. With
You know, you might be right, Connor, because let me see if I can pull this. I got this other picture of it, and his mouth's open.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause that blue is the
Brian
one
just
head.
confirmed in the chat there.
Yeah.
Movable jaw too. Cheers, Brian. Yeah, I thought I heard about the jaw. So
Okay, that's cool. So,
Oh,
again,
you could add
no
it.
interest in the other figure.
Bosk and the Gamorrean Guard. Yeah, figures with movable jaws are cool.
right.
Yeah.
Captain America?
I don't need this one.
No?
Yeah,
What,
I don't
but
even.
you have one with that shield and him gritting his teeth?
I got my one Captain America from my Avengers display. That's all I need.
So many of them over the
Right.
years. I could care less about these anymore.
The only one I collect multiples of is Wolverine and
Like-
again X-23.
That's why they put him in all
now
those
where they just
packs for you,
remake.
John.
a character,
Yeah.
and that's I don't know. I don't get it.
This is a bad guy, Captain America, is it? He's
Yeah,
like an
it's the
evil
Hydra
person.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's,
I think he
cool
looks
that the
slick, man. He
fans
looks
are getting
good.
it.
Oh, he looks great.
He has a good fan base, so it'll do okay.
He's just not from the comics and the cartoons I grew up with, so I don't need him. Same with this figure.
This guy,
Awesome. This is incredible.
No interest in this figure, but when they showed the articulation on the
on the wings, yeah,
beautiful. Again, just the way they kind of fold over in front of the character.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Awesome.
I wish that
I think if you want Foul Cap, this is like the definitive one so far. This is the best.
What I don't get is why he doesn't look like the actor. There's only one actor has played.
This is from the cartoon. This is from the comic book.
Yeah, this is
how he looks in the comic. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the TV one, his wings are like metallic or whatever in the movie, right? Or in the show.
Well, yeah, but there's still a show coming up. I don't know. The other
but I'm just imagining when they do a Falcon, they've already got those wings down, so that's going to be really cool too.
Mm.
All right. Looks good. He looks buff.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
All right, and then these are those. Yeah, I guess they're more in-game figures. Or something.
3-packs again.
I mean, how many times we got to get
this? Is this that they're bringing out 2 figures that they previously had, and they're just putting them in new packaging, bringing them out to stores for people that haven't picked it up the first time. I really like that idea. I'm glad they just came out and were honest about it, and they weren't trying to sell it as something new. They just
like the archive line.
We're
we only have one head. Isn't the other one on the shelf right now have 2 heads?
The cool thing is I don't need it because I probably got 3 versions of this guy. Right?
Yeah, and I don't buy MCU versions. He's too MCU looking.
And then this Iron Man, this is the same one that came in the previous in-game set where it was like the 2-pack where he had all the extra heads and stuff like that.
I really wish they could do vac metal on some of these toys. It's like there's only a couple of characters that need it, and that's Iron Man and R2D2. Like literally, like there's not, and C-3PO. There's only so many, right? And all the Marvel and Star Wars and G.I. Joe that where you can just make the character that much better. Well, she was kind of, I don't know, brushed metal. I guess that's the word.
No, her armor was built from a Naboo cruiser, so it should be chrome. It should be chrome.
But I mean, we know they do it because we see it on some toys, whether it's the vac metal R2D2 and that retro collection that you can only get at Hasbro Pulse, or like Super 7 does it with some Silverhawks, or there's companies that are doing it. It's just I don't know what it is, or why it's just frowned upon or not, woke enough. I don't know. I don't think
he said the process is detriment to the environment for whatever.
So is a lot of stuff, but it's all still done.
Brian has a good point there. They need recognizable characters on the shelf, like Iron Man and Spider-Man, and that's true because, like, my mother's been messaging me the last couple weeks because she gets those tabs off the Christmas trees and gives random kids toys. And the tabs were saying, like, they want Iron Man figures, they want Spider-Man figures, and they wanted, like, Iron Man Lego. And I was looking around, and Mom doesn't want to spend more than, like, $15 per kid. And I was going through the stores while I was working, and I'm going, there's no Iron Man, not even Lego, that's $15 or less. You know what I mean? Right. And I'm, like, going, there's, like, the times when I've been looking, I'm like, there's one set with Spider-Man and it's like $80. There's one set with Iron Man and it's like $100. And it's like, and then I'm looking at the regular toys and I'm going, there's an Incredible Hulk figure, but I don't see any Iron Man figures, that are like less than $15.
Epic Heroes has Iron Man and Spider-Man and all those for like $11. So that's the current cheapy ones.
There was an Iron Man at Ross that was $5.99.
We couldn't get Iron Man, though. We could only get the Hulk and Spider-Man. We couldn't get Iron Man in that set.
Because they're all at Ross.
And,
they're all at Ross right now. All right. So how about this carded?
Cool. Who's that? I don't know.
Executioner.
He's a new
Yeah.
character, is he?
He was difficult to find back in the 90s.
He's great accessories. This guy, brilliant accessories.
He's not a new character. He was in the. Toy Biz made him. Toy Biz made him in the 90s.
What does the FOH stand for on his belt buckle?
It does.
Nerd.
Say FOH.
If you don't know that answer, you're not a real X-Men nerd.
But I remember he was hard
I
to
do not
find.
know.
That was one of those ones that everybody was going crazy for. He was so difficult to find in the original Toy Biz line.
And I think I was freaking engaged in '97.
You get so much with this guy. Great accessories.
Yeah,
So was he in the cartoon?
I don't. So Brian's saying freedom of
Not really,
humanity.
not
I
yet.
thought it was Friends of Humanity.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Friends of Humanity.
He was in the
Presumably, no, he wasn't in the original one, from what I remember.
Dino wants to know.
Probably will be in the new season that comes out next year.
Dino that saying he's at GameStop. There's some Marvel Legends. These are new, right? The new Black Widow. There was a new Iron Man, a new Captain America. Those are new releases for that saga line. I think the new Black Widow is on like the new articulation or something like that.
Yeah, and there's a Bruce Banner one too, right?
Yeah. Okay, what
I
about
love
the
artifacts on
Cyclops?
these.
Neat.
I think
Comes
all-
with a blast effect.
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty
To me,
cool.
to me, that's probably the definitive kind of Cyclops from this era, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that the belt on his chest or strap on his chest is molded onto the figure now, I think that's
It's
nice.
molded.
Did they
Okay.
not say that it's a new mold on it, that the last one was writing up, that they decided to mold it onto the figure?
I don't know. I didn't watch the stream. I just
Looks
saw
like
it
an
so
overlay
after.
piece.
I just thought that just the fact that they've gone and done a new mold, that's really cool. And then that last accessory coming out of his eyes is awesome. The way they have
And
it
it-
molded,
And he's got the 2-finger hand. Yeah.
I don't think they should even produce toys that aren't on card backs like this anymore. Like, don't even.
Yeah,
make
they
them-
should all be on
don't make
card
boxed
backs.
ones. Don't make bagged ones or VHS ones or like scrap all of that crap. This looks good on a shelf. I saw a bunch of them today,
Yeah.
like Spider-Mans. They look great on the shelf. They also can hang on pegs. Unlike these can only hang on pegs. They don't stand on shelves. They look awesome, but I mean, how long have these toy companies been around where they can't figure out how to frickin' have these things being purchasable in stores now? Like, it makes no sense to me. Like I saw a couple of those VHS boxes today of these Marvel Legends with Aunt May or
good show,
Peter
Jonathan.
Pan or whoever was on them. I'm like, what is this crap? Like, you spent a lot of money to pay an artist to draw this art on it that's turned quarter sideways on a shelf and no one can see it. It's like, you don't even know it's a toy, and it could be gummy bears inside for all the kid knows, because kids aren't reading, the ingredients of what's in this box. I don't know, but I don't know why there's any box toys anymore.
All right.
Like, they tried it for a
Anybody
while.
interested in Jean Grey here?
No, not
Yeah,
for
it
me.
looks
But I
great.
think it's a cool figure. You get 2 head sculpts. They're giving her the posable ponytail like we're getting with the new Scarlet, which is awesome for photographers that want to do your
That's cool.
displays.
That's very cool.
I think this is a really good update of the Jean Grey figure. I think they've nailed it.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Face sculpt is phenomenal in this one.
Anybody
This
need
looks
Magneto
weird.
with a big M on his chest?
His face looks so weird.
Yeah.
These will
this
all
is all
don't
hard
understand
backs.
this
I
guy.
think he's a good figure.
Most people that collect Marvel Legends are X-Men fans, so they'll sell well.
I guess I'm not a fan of this X-Men 97 or
This
whatever.
This is the only one I need.
Yeah, that's the one I
that's
got.
exactly right, Eric.
Yeah.
That's
The
the one,
this
right?
must be his new look in the new cartoon, and it's
Or
gonna be
one of-
weird looking.
I think he's probably gonna have both looks, because this is the one from that line. This is from the first wave.
But
And
this-
that's
Yeah,
one of
because the other
only
Magneto's
ones
in the
that's
damn logo.
cool.
Yeah.
yeah, I just M for so he's the M&M's guy. I don't know. Get 2 of them. M&M's. What about
Cardbacks all look great.
now? Why
It's
do you
good.
for a Nightcrawler? Because I've never picked up a Nightcrawler figure, and I do need one. But it's kind of weird, like because this would be an animated mix and match, I guess, with like a comic. But I think it looks fantastic, actually.
It looks good,
Yeah,
but
his
I'm not a
face is
fan.
little weird
I'm not.
again.
They redid the face. They must have redone
Yeah.
the face for X-Men 97 from the 92 series, and that is throwing me off a little bit.
Yeah, it's the head is weird.
The colors are right though.
Yep.
Yes. Other than like my preference toward the 92 kind of head design, face design figure looks really cool.
All right, I'll have to. I'm gonna have to find a Nightcrawler, I guess. Anybody interested in the Goblin Queen?
No.
But
it comes with some interesting stuff.
Is this the one that they tried to give that they threw in at the
Yes.
last minute? They were trying to do with that
Yes.
Hasbro.
Yes.
Except for they didn't do the torsos covered here, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So didn't they say
But
that?
this is Jean Grey when she joins the Hellfire Club, right?
Oh, is that what it is? So there's. Didn't they say they couldn't do figures like this though?
Well, they put clothes on her. Usually, she's just wearing a corset and like panties and some, like there's lots of skin showing. There's very little skin showing in this. Kind of like the old Lady Death and those kind of.
I am going to get this just because that little baby figure, the head.
I think this is from the future. Is that Hope?
I don't know. The head looks like my grandson a little bit, so I'm gonna probably pop that off and put it on a little
head swap on a baby
shorter figure or whatever, and yeah.
See, I'm curious.
Does the baby head articulate?
Actually, I wonder. I think it's actually a girl baby, and that's Hope. Hope Summers was sent to the future and protected by Cable, so that
the baby is
Cable could protect Hope Summers in the future. You think the baby's Cable? When did they have a baby Cable?
No, Lack is saying, or no, Jonathan saying, or who said that?
Geek says it's Professor X baby.
Jonathan saying that baby is. He thinks it's.
I think it's baby Ahsoka.
I think it's Cable as well, but
Hope was the one that there was a baby that they sent to the future.
You guys been talking about a show that hasn't come out yet.
And
so
Cable protected her.
I don't know. Like, well, I was trying to look at the picture to see if I could get the head off, but like, I guess I'll have to wait and see. If it's not possible, I mean, I can always cut it out of there. Shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, he eventually brought the baby back. Yep, after she grew up.
I just want to confirm that the baby is not mine.
All right.
Just get that out there. We move on.
All right, and then Epic Hacks has this like 1/12 scale Red Sonja. They finally released the full body image or whatever. Anybody interested in these Epic Hacks? Or
any idea in cost?
It's $50.
No, not getting it. It looks okay, but not getting it. No,
it's good. 50's not too bad. But
so I thought it was interesting because, like, we were talking about this like when we first saw it, and we were talking about how it would fit into the Mythic Legions and stuff like that. And it's not like, I'm guessing this character has to be really popular for collectors because this is about the third version of it in a 6-inch scale. They had the executive replicas have done two, right? One with like the little real body type. They did this one right here that came out this last year, and then now Epic Hacks they're doing one too. So I'm like,
the comic book is really popular according to the comic guys.
Yeah, okay.
But
So
she's not in it again. I'm kind of like, why? Because she's not in any other media. If there was a movie or a TV show, like
I have a few reasons to why she might be popular in some circles.
2 reasons? Are they right here?
2 in particular.
Yes, Eric. Which would those reasons be?
She's a great personality.
I think the fact that there are there's currently a big amount of Masters Universe toys and products out there. Mythic Legions are doing well. They got lots of product out there. It's just timing. They're gonna piggyback off the back of some of those popular lines. She is a property like Conan. She's a license you got to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
So
do something in the future we don't know about, like a Netflix show or a cartoon that we don't know about.
Well, maybe they need to make a show so that they could sell more figures. The Epic Hacks one is $50. The executive replicas one's like $70. Right. So
are either of those 12 inches or are they?
No, they're both 6-inch figure lines. Yeah. And so it's just interesting that they had the 2 different price points on them and stuff like that. And I don't know which one looked better.
The epic
Have
one
you
looks better.
have you brought up the Hasbro episode 1 retro collection yet for this week's episode?
What
did you just skip
retro
that?
pack is that? I didn't see it. Did somebody show it to me?
It was like the
Talking
biggest
about you
news
didn't
of toys this week.
Yeah, it was the biggest news ever.
No,
Like,
the biggest
for
news
sure it
was
was
that
the
was the
biggest
most
toy
Gijoe on a
important.
battle droid.
No,
You
it
guys
was
talked
the
about
most.
it for like an hour.
It was the most important news that we're finally
Does
getting
somebody have a
episode
picture
1
of it?
retro.
And
Kenner
Just go to my
figures.
Heroes and Villains page.
Pull up
Yeah,
a
it was
picture
definitely the
and
most
pull
liked
up a
and
photo and share
shared
it.
and
We'll throw it up and
commented
talk
on
about it.
posts I've made in months.
Is this
was,
the one with the Power of the Force, Anakin or whatever, and then Jar Jar's in there?
Yes. But
Okay,
the
I don't
Power
have a
of the
picture of
Force,
that.
it's
Did we
Kenner.
talk about that? Did we talk about it last week?
Well,
We
they
might-
did
we
a
might touch
pipeline
on it.
reveal like a month ago where they showed photographs of people like Hasbro does,
And
but
are
now
they-
they have to
are they-
reveal, the retro collection for episode 1.
Are they
Share
highly
a picture of
articulated
it.
action figures?
5 POA.
Oh, well, then I didn't see them. No.
So my thought on that was, if you want to share a picture, we can throw it up there. But I feel like half of that retro box doesn't look very retro. You know what I mean? Like when I think of the retro line and I think of the figures, I'm looking at my vintage figures and they all stand kind of like this with their arms kind of like up and down and their legs kind of up and down. But when I saw that, I think it was Anakin or something, his arms look like they're kind of out to the side. The arms bent a little bit more. And it
No,
made
I know
me
what you're
feel
talking
like
about.
I was looking at, you can zoom in. It made me feel like I was looking.
Do we not get
at-
a C3PO head with the battle droid?
Yeah, I
No.
felt like I was looking at Power of the Force a little bit.
It's another 6-pack box like what they did with the
Can
Return
you-
of the
can you-
Jedi and
Can you zoom in on the picture of the box?
not really,
They look
man.
just.
They're on
They
Instagram.
look.
Here,
So they're 5 POA, Darth Maul, Jar Jar, Queen
See, Darth Maul
Amidala.
looks weird because of the way his arms are all sticking out, and then
Well,
if you that
remember,
robot,
these
What
are
do you mean?
3D generated art images on the internet. They're not real anything. They're just
yeah, but I mean,
Vern-
like,
fake images on the internet.
Vern, check out the link I sent in the chat.
okay,
They have. You can zoom in a bit more.
The soft goods there with Qui-Gon, I think that takes away from the retro look.
Vinyl all day.
See, like
boy, what is
I have
this
to-
website?
I have to-
Because
Yeah,
so many
vinyl
ads.
for sure if they're going for the retro look. But I even think it's too bulky. And I know we got some soft goods with the Jedi figures later in the line, but I don't know. I think it just takes out of that Kenner look away from the figure. I think.
I think since these were prequel figures, they should have been. The Qui-Gon should have been a plastic cape because that's anything that comes before Empire Strikes Back had a plastic cape. So I think anything that
Forget it.
chronologically
I think
comes
that website's
before
got
Empire
a million pop-ups.
should have a plastic cape as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think aesthetically, it would have been better for a retro Qui-Gon.
yeah, like I can see some capes and whatnot, but I also just I just like did it switch over? I went to my let me share a different screen here. I don't know
I
if anyone
can't wait for
understands
them.
that I believe these are Hasbro's best selling toy line. No,
Well, I'll tell you right now.
when
I'll tell you
when
right now.
when I share affiliate links to Amazon,
Yeah,
people buy these all of them, multiples
Yeah.
of them, 10 of them.
same
when I
thing
share
with
a
me.
post on Twitter and Facebook or Instagram, people like it, share it, comment, buy it.
And
love it.
the weird
On
thing
all other
is
toy
that
products, they don't.
the weird thing is that too is that you do go to the store and see an awful lot of them on the shelf on the pegs, but most of the people I know that do buy them, like me, I've got 6 of each figure. You know what I mean? And the troopers, like I have 6 on card and I have 6 or 8 open of all the troopers. And in fact, I just ordered 6 more Biker Scouts because they were $7.99 on Amazon the other day.
So why I love these, and you guys know I'm a vintage Star Wars guy. Like John likes his vintage toys too.
Yeah.
This to me, they're continuing the vintage
I'm buying
Star Wars line.
I want these box sets. I order 3 of because
And in
I will open one of each.
None of us in the panel and none of us in the chat would be buying or collecting toys today if it wasn't for Kenner Star Wars figures.
That's not true. That's not
It
true.
is true because none of these toy lines would exist.
Yeah.
No.
It would be like Barbie and Hot Wheels, and that would be it.
I would be collecting 12-inch GI Joes today.
They wouldn't exist. GI Joe never would have existed if it. Well, yeah, they would have stopped making them.
I'm telling you, John, I would be collecting 12-inch GI Joes today, not 3 3/4 ones that you claim would never exist. The 12-inch figures would still be around.
No, the toy industry
soft
as we
vinyl
know it
Japanese
would not
superheroes
exist.
like Kamen Rider and stuff like that. I'd be collecting the 7-inch Mego superheroes, which were around way before these ones.
They were
These toys did not invent toys.
I'm not saying they invented toys, but the toy industry as we know it today.
I was collecting toys before these came out. I had toys
before Star Wars figures.
I had this Shogun Warriors. I had like all those little metal ones. I had the soft vinyl Japanese superhero ones. I had the 12-inch GI Joes. I had the Migos, Action Jackson. I had all of those.
So
those
why modern? I think the point was.
But what you're saying is,
modern toys were highly influenced
didn't exist. You may not have had Star Wars figures.
I really like that they did this Queen Amidala version though. They need to do these in Black Series and stuff.
Figure.
Yeah.
Like trying to pin the entire toy collecting world on one toy line, I think is reaching it a little bit, Rick.
No, it's not. I don't
no,
think
every modern
know anything about the toy industry.
Every modern toy maker, every documentary says Star Wars revolutionized.
Somebody built a time machine, went back to the 60s and said, I need to invent a 12-inch GI Joe because if we don't do this, we'll never have 3 3/4 inch Star Wars figures.
No, but like modern it's I don't think it can be debated that the vintage Kenner Star Wars toys influence what we know as like modern toys and action figures today. Like
every documentary on toys says that.
Adventure people, so the scale is already in use and being used, and
watch any documentary on toys and watch any documentary on the industry itself, and they all say Star Wars was the major turning point in toys. It was a major impact.
But it wasn't I don't think it was necessarily the 3 3/4 inch Star Wars figures. I think it was just Star Wars in general. If Mego had taken that license and made Mego action figures, but Star Wars related,
you would have only got 12 figures. You wouldn't have had 96.
Because people wanted Star Wars figures.
And G.I. Joe never made 4 billion of this toy. No other.
Mego would have made. Mego would have made. But Mego would have made 12 figures. Mego would only have made 12 figures. The main characters. We never would have got 96 figures.
Well, you don't know that. Those original.
What other line did Mego make?
Would have sold out. They would have been able to say, oh, we need to make all the figures. Yeah, they wouldn't have had all their goofy dudes, and you might not have had.
Mego would have made all the DC figures. Mego would have made all the Marvel figures.
Maybe.
Line. But that first, think about it. If Mego got that license, your original Star Wars figures would have been fully posable.
No, because Mego made 3 3/4 figures.
No, Mego made like. What are you talking about?
Mego made 3 3/4 figures. Black Hole.
What they would have made. They would have made these. This is
from
1973. Before your Star Wars, precious Star Wars figures came out.
Yeah, they would have made them like that.
They would have been this size.
But that was after Star Wars, wasn't it?
This is before Star Wars.
The Titans. Yes, it was after Star Wars. Yeah. I think G.I. Joes would have been great that size.
This is what
what I'm saying is, for Marvel and DC, they never made anything more than the main characters and the main villains. They didn't go into all the obscure characters that Toy Biz did.
That's because they didn't sell, but everybody wanted Star Wars.
They would have only made 12 figures.
Would have been a good 8-inch line.
Trust me.
But you also
Because you
get
have
innovations in
top
play sets and
loads.
vehicles and mini rigs and all that
Yeah.
stuff too.
Of course.
Trust me,
Yeah, but
any
so did
any
Mego.
other
Mego
any
made
other
the
company,
Batmobile, the Bat Cycle, the Bat Chopper, they made all that stuff for those Migos.
yeah. But you would have only got
Smaller
4
than they should have
vehicles.
been.
You
No.
would have got like ships, and you would have got vehicles for
4.
your Star Wars figures.
You only would
in
have
that
got 4 or
Mego size.
5. You only would have got 4 or 5.
That's why
The only
G.I.
reason
No
the only
way.
reason that
Over.
Kenner went every other company that was big at the time would have only made 12 figures and 3 or 4 vehicles.
Well,
And that
here's
because
the
that
thing.
was the standard. That was the standard of what they did. The only reason Kenner went out of the box and made obscure figures was
It's
because they were
that's
a
all they could
young
do.
they were a young, brand new company that didn't have anything set in stone
That were
for their
that they
manufacturing.
didn't have anything. They took a long shot on the
Yes.
Star Wars thing, and it
Yeah.
paid off for them. Yes, that's
Yeah.
all that happened. But the thing is, you can't go back and say there's no way to know, right? Like what toys would have been like today, because I think I would still have been collecting probably. I just have different stuff in my collection.
I can't say that. I bet you I wouldn't collect any toys today at all whatsoever. None. If Star Wars Kenner toys didn't exist.
You both have valid points.
Guarantee it.
If you were a
See,
kid and you got Star Wars figures that were like Migos, right? You would have liked those just as much because you liked your superhero Migo figures.
I don't know.
See,
So,
the thing
Eric,
is that
how's the little one doing, Eric? How's she getting on?
Show me your
All right.
Migo
the
Hulk.
thing is that like
She's doing good.
Yeah.
I think that
There you go.
One.
Migo Hulk versus Luke Skywalker.
I've got 3,000 Star Wars figures, but I got one Migo Hulk.
I think because of the way Star Wars took off, that allowed G.I. Joe to go into like a thing where they could have hundreds of figures, and even Transformers, having like a million different characters, because they realized that people wanted more than just the main 12 characters.
Dino's right.
But for me, it's not just Star Wars as to why I collect. It's Star Wars, then I went on to G.I. Joe and Transformers and then on to He-Man. Like as a child, because of Star Wars, I went on to G.I. Joe and then went to Transformers and to He-Man. So all those lines that came out in that order are why I collect today and why I still collect all those lines, collect every line that's come out from the 80s and 90s and 70s, you know?
You're a few years younger than me, John and Vern. Like for me, I was at the perfect age when the Star Wars toys came out, right? Like I was 4 or 5 years old. And then they made those Star Wars toys for only 5 years or so. But those are the years I played with toys. And then 84 came when they stopped making toys. And then all of a sudden girls had boobs. And I was more interested in, driving a car and playing pro sports. So toys.
Pro sport.
I didn't move on to G.I. Joe and He-Man and other things. I went from toys to not adults, but being a teenager and not playing with toys. What? A lot of your generation or people just 5 years younger than me still played with toys, after Star Wars. There was other toys.
I can tell you.
And after that, we went to Nintendo Entertainment Center.
Because I never watched Power Rangers or
Next.
Look, I'm not as invested in the G.I. Joe line because I collected the vintage G.I. Joes when I was a kid. I'm invested in the G.I. Joe line because I collected the 12-inch G.I. Joes, and it's the closest thing I can get to having that original G.I. Joe in the 12-inch, fully posable action soldier or whatever. And that's my nostalgia bridge. I did have some of those 3 3/4 inches, but I loved my 12-inch Joes way better than I ever liked those 3 3/4 inch ones. So today, when I pick up my Joes, it's because they're fully posable, just like my 12-inch Joes. And they're just in the more appropriate size for me because they fit with my Star Wars figure.
Do you think the Hasbro will make any 12-inch Joes for the 60th anniversary?
I would hope that they would do one. What's all that noise? Somebody?
Oh, sorry. It's probably my sweatshirt rubbing up against the headphones.
Yeah, I would hope that they would come out with at least 1 or 2 12-inch Joes, but I don't think they're going to. What I would really hope, though, is they
Right.
take the model of that 12-inch and make a 6-inch version of maybe the Adventure Team figures or something across the line that look just like those 12-inch ones, but like in a 6-inch scale. Like maybe the most popular ones or something like that. That's what I would kind of want for that anniversary.
I'd be surprised if they didn't, to be honest. Like, because even just up to a couple of years ago, there were still some 12-inch modern GI Joes you can get. Like every year, they'd make a couple.
They redid that entire
conventions
Adventure
or
series,
something.
and they had them at Walmart at one point, maybe like 2000
Yeah, it was a little while ago.
Yeah, and every once in a while, like I see they still make a 12-inch soldier figure, but Hasbro doesn't make them. It's somebody else. You find them in like Big Lots or something like that. But all right, you guys got anything else you wanted to complain about?
So while we were on this, I won a Dagobah Hot Toys Yoda brand new in the box for $69.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. All right, so earlier in the show, Miriam said that they already have that 3-pack Viper setup. So
Spin again.
I'm gonna spin it again. Let's see.
New rule. It's the 11th spin that wins.
Well, now you got to spin it 11 times. Okay.
No, I'm not gonna do that. But I am going
vote for
to
usual
go to the
like.
window, share it. There's the wheel. Still got everybody on there. Let's see what happens.
Connor, I was never too old when stuff came out. I graduated high school in 1991, and the Power Rangers came out in 1992.
All right,
and me and my friends all ran to the store and bought the entire line. We saw.
Oh, you were the one who took all this Power Ranger toys from me and my kindergarten friends.
Yep.
I was in kindergarten when Power Rangers came out.
My friend and I I bought one of every figure in the triangle boxes, and I bought one of every Zord, including the gold and black versions. And then my friend Norfrio did the same thing. We bought 2 complete sets from Toys R Us the day they were out. And
I think it was just the TV show to capture me at that stage. I'm sure if I was younger, I'm sure I would have loved it because my younger brother loved it. So
yeah,
it was just an age thing.
With Northern Nomad, 2 years.
Same here, Northern. I'm same age.
For what it's.
You guys are 2 years behind me. Okay.
Share my screen.
For what it's worth, with kids like me who grew up with Power Rangers, at least in my circle, the action figures themselves weren't as popular as the Zords. The Zords, if you could make the Megazord, and if you had the Dino Zord and the big Brontosaurus or Brachiosaurus, whatever, Titan, whatever, that was a statement toy where you were like. You were the it kid if you had that. Right.
All right. So the winner of the one spin wonder was Steve-O from Collecting
Steve-O.
We'll have to let him know.
He doesn't have any G.I. Joe figures at all.
No, he does.
We'll see what happens. Maybe he'll defer it to somebody else. Unless Miriam is the original winner, is in complete disagreement that Steve-O should not win that set. Anyways, all right. You guys got anything you want to plug coming up? If not, we're going to
share my screen, please.
The guys the contractors are coming January 2nd, so we have a date for when this window project's going to be done.
Found on eBay this week is a new wave of retro collection Kenner Ghostbusters with the Fright features.
Oh wow!
So
very nice.
The Ghostbusters line continues. So I think it's safe to say that, the Star Wars retros are going to continue.
Watch they make the glow-in-the-dark ones next and piss off all the collectors.
The Ninja Turtles, you name it, we're going to see a lot more. Oh, yeah, and I got this week. Can't wait to open that up. But yeah, man, long live retro.
All right, cool. Anybody posting any videos or got anything going on they want to plug? Eric, you post your first video yet?
No, but I do feel like I need to go on a rant about one thing from Hasbro. I know a lot of people in various chats and whatnot say I'm like probably more pro Hasbro than a lot of people. But one thing that just is mind-boggling to me is I've watched these brand panel Q&A things for the past few years, and they keep telling the select few people who are invited, like, oh, give us feedback. Oh, we'd love to hear feedback. We thrive off your brackets and lists. But all of those are like insulated little like groups like this. This is like an insulated little community we've got, and that's great, but it's not representative of the whole, right? The whole community. I don't understand why Hasbro doesn't like implement like a centralized, democratized kind of list where they can have access to all the kind of feedback across all the lines.
That's everywhere in social media now. It's everywhere.
I disagree.
But whose list?
It's a good mix.
Whose list should I participate in? Whose list? Right? Whose list matters most to them? Right? Like
whichever one has more people.
I disagree with Eric. I think that the people who are part of the toy team here and the community that watches, we're the most representative of the entire.
The problem, Eric, is that
loudest.
The moms and dads and the kids that are walking down the toy aisle and buying those toys, they don't have a YouTube channel and they're not in those polls. They're not in those panels. I'm saying they should have that's the majority of the people buying toys, and they're not even represented.
But is that true in the like collector product lines like the Black Series, TVC, Legends? I guess not. They're more adult collector lines, and for those. They should probably have think selfishly, if I were employed by Hasbro, I would want that data. Who's requesting what from which region, how much do they buy from us, and should we weight decision making? It's not just because you facilitate this list, it's not a contract to do whatever the community says. It's just a transparent, centralized place to get the data. Right?
Hammerhead would have been made by now if that was
right now. All the vintage collection collectors, from several different popular Instagram and YouTube channels, they're having a little fan vote, a little vote within their communities. So one community might have 100 people in it, another one might have 6,000, and then it all adds up. So they're having a little vote to see why Hammerhead is the most wanted vintage figure in the vintage line. Hasbro watches those videos and we'll get an email saying.
But that shouldn't be the primary source. Those are fun, and I encourage every creator out there to do whatever they want. But Hasbro should own that kind of process and make it transparent.
If you think about the lines in general, I think what John and you guys were said earlier was right on, right? You're not just with Marvel, with every line, you got to have recognizable characters on the shelf. So even though we complain about repaints and repacks and stuff like that, obviously there's always got to be a Boba Fett sitting on the shelf, right? There's always got to be or something like that.
And what I'm suggesting isn't a contract to produce whatever people are the most requested figure. It's just with whatever bandwidth they have to produce new figures.
The problem is I would say probably the biggest consuming audience isn't connected to a community or anything like that when it comes to action figures.
But guess what? When you buy an action figure, it could come with a little slip that says, hey, right?
And how many people are going to take that slip, scan it, and do the survey? I don't do surveys when they send them to me and stuff like that. It's a waste of time.
I do if they say I'll get $500.
The vintage collectors have a much more tight-knit community. And there's a thing going on at the moment.
It's a small one.
And I don't think
it really is.
But they're doing their last man standing, and that runs across multiple platforms with multiple YouTube channels and on Instagram.
Sure.
Actually, I think that's on right now. We're down to the final. Yeah. And coincidentally, a couple of the final figures, or the last few figures, not the last few years, have made it coincidentally into production the following year. So,
but some of those are rigged because
they're a little more organized, and I think they have Hasbro's ear because of again, the mixture in that community, it's cross-platform.
But Hasbro changes the numbers on some of those lists.
I'm not saying
my
those aren't
friends in
directionally
Seattle-
accurate. It's just that like everyone should have an equal voice is all I'm kind of.
My
Oh,
friends in
very much
Seattle
so.
ran one
In
of
a
those
perfect
lists.
world, that
Something
would be
like
that would be the case that
Difference
everybody
in
has an equal
organization
voice,
between the
right?
two
But
different communities. That's what I was trying to.
who said it earlier?
Yeah, but
Mac
I'm
is
trying
saying
to say
listens to nobody except
Hasbro
for
manipulated
themselves.
that list one year.
And somebody else said that they only listen to the stock market. So
Because some of the guys in Seattle that run that Star Wars club, they were compiling numbers for the what figure should get made for Hasbro, and the prisoner Leia won. Slave Leia won the by like 6,000 votes, and Hasbro changed the number after they turned it in to make it be like that one didn't have enough votes to win because they didn't want to make the figure, they couldn't produce it. So some of those things
like
that's
that's an edge case, right? Like,
well, I think what happened was the guys that hacked the world in the next movie changed the vote. All right, everybody. On that note, I want to thank everybody for joining us on the Toy Duo. We're at 2.5 hours. We're gonna
2.5 hours
up here. We need some oxygen. Anyways, I appreciate everybody for tuning in.
Guys.
Thanks to you guys for coming on, sharing your opinions and stuff like that. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody in the future on the Toy Duo.
Happy holidays.
Collect them all.
Toys, 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 manly toys, 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 toys.